Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Pupcast here on Screen. I'm Aaron, and you might notice that this is a little bit different music that we have starting off this time. I also sound a little bit cooler than I normally do, and I can't sustain that for long, so I'll just go back to speaking normally. The music that you're listening to at the moment is by Dave Brubeck, who is, I'm not the biggest jazz musician, but I always liked Dave Brubeck, and he passed away earlier this week, which is why I decided to start the show with a little bit of a tribute to him. This is his classic hit, Take 5. To me, this is the greatest song to ever buy someone a drink to in a bar. If this music comes on in a bar, you are duty bound to go up and try and buy someone a drink. But anyway, let's not get off on Dave Brubeck, although, interesting fact, he did a lot of music for the Peanuts. So, that ties into Screen, being all about movies and television. And today on the episode, we are talking about fall television. I know that it is way past fall, but most fall TV shows are now hitting their halfway point. And I figured what better time for us to just do a little bit of a midway summary, just giving our opinions on how we feel each series has done so far this season, and what the state of television has been based so far on these shows. And also, you'll notice that, unlike the last few episodes, this episode we went back to using Audacity, which means that it's going to sound a whole lot better. The reason we switched back is because throughout November, I was too busy to edit Audacity. Throughout November, I was busy working on what many of you have probably heard of called NaNoWriMo, which stands for National Novel Writing Month. It is basically a challenge to see whether or not you can write a 50,000 word novel all within the span of 1 month, all within November. And I took the challenge, never tried it before, always wanted to, and I did it. I was able to write a novel, 56,000 words, 10,000 of which were done in the last 24 hours of November, but I did it. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it again next year, and now begins the long process of editing. But important thing is, now that that is out of the way, I can focus more on doing the Pupcast, on writing some stuff for Screen, and I look forward to doing it, and I look forward to this week's episode. I hope everybody enjoys. As I said, we have a nice long discussion about fall television, and in fact, our entire third segment today is dedicated entirely to talking about Season 3 of The Walking Dead, so I know you guys are going to love that. Although there is one thing that I forgot to bring up, which is, fuck the Talking Dead. Am I the only person who's mildly offended by that? Seriously, it's a half-hour show dedicated to telling you how great the last hour show you just watched was. Also, fuck Comic Book Man, which comes on after The Talking Dead. Seriously, that show is offensive to me as a guy who reads comics. I'm mad now. I don't even want to do this anymore. Oh, I can't stay mad listening to you, Dave Brubeck. Enjoy the show! persona be bugging. Alright, I am back with... we are back for another episode of the Screen Pupcast. And this intro is a little small. We've just got me, Aaron, and then Jackson.
Hello.
And Mike.
Heidi-doo.
Hey, there we go. That will get...
That wasn't creepy at all.
Yeah. Introductions.
Introductions, yes. The least popular part of the show. But yeah, this seems kind of small right now, but we're going to have more people joining us later in the show, because this week's episode is our fall TV episode, in which, and I know what you're saying, but isn't it winter? Shut up, idiots. It's our fall TV episode, because we are going to talk about the fall TV shows up to this point. They're all kind of reaching that, mid-season finale point, which... What do you guys feel about that? I don't know, it kind of irritates me.
It's dumb. It's super dumb.
It's stupid, but then again, I watched Young Justice, so I'm used to waiting for months on end for 1 or 2 episodes.
We're gonna talk about that on probably the next episode, because the next episode I do want to do an episode before the year's over dedicated to Cartoon Network's 20th anniversary. But yeah, that was such a dick move that they did with Young Justice, and I do want to talk about it. I think I know the reason why they did it. I think it's because Michael Clark Duncan was playing the villain that was introduced in that episode, and I think at the last minute they went, fuck it, this probably seems insensitive, panic button, and so they have to wait so they can re-record all his lines. But yeah, I don't know, and even then it was an incredibly stupid thing that they did, but... So yeah, it's interesting. So we'll talk about Young Justice next episode. But yeah, for now, we're just starting off with this small crew. We're just gonna do our regular little bits here at the beginning, and I just want to ask you guys, what movies have you guys seen recently, or any other thing that you want to talk about? Because Mike, I know that you've been reading something.
Yeah,
a book? Preposterous!
Yeah, I have this Akira Kurosawa research paper that's due on Thursday, and so I've been reading a shit ton of literature on him. And one, y'all should see Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, and Ron.
Yojimbo is so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Ron is on Netflix. Instant. Go watch it. If you don't feel at least the little bit sad during the third castle montage, you are heartless. Because, yeah, man, you just feel like shit after watching that part. But I want to recommend a book that is a look at Akira Kurosawa's life. It's called Kurosawa, Film Studies and Japanese Cinema. It's by Mitsuhiro Yoshimoto. And it's about 400 pages long. It's a complete run-through of his filmography, and there's a 50-page or so complaint about how scholarly Japanese film criticism is terrible and how they go about it the wrong way and all that. No, it's a good book. Y'all should read it.
All right. Cool. All right, well, anything else you guys have been watching recently?
I saw The Grey. That film's okay, I guess. It
is not bad.
It's not bad. There are some really, really good moments there. That scene where they have to cross the thing. It's a brilliant scene. But the character work is really quite... I didn't know who anyone but Liam Neeson was. And I only know who Liam Neeson was Liam Neeson. So,
yeah. He plays himself.
He plays himself since 2008.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things in which, if you see a movie with a big actor, you know that he's going to be important simply because he's a big actor. It's not...
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm talking shit. I have not seen the movie yet. I'm still saving that one. I'm just trying to say what I think you mean.
It's worth it, and it does have the depth. They said, really early on, there's this deep scene where this guy dies, and it's got the plane crashes, one of the first scenes, and Liam Neeson just goes over him, and he's like, "Am I going to be okay?" And Liam Neeson's like, "You're about to die now," and he dies, and you see all these characters go, "Oh my god, did you feel him go? I felt him go, man. Man, that was so deep, man. Yeah." That's deep. But all you learn about the characters is that they find death bad, or you learn... one of the characters out on watch is like, man, I really love my kid. You never guess what happens to him 5 seconds later.
Man, the only thing greater than this is being a dad.
Exactly.
I'm only 3 days from retirement, guys.
Pretty much.
I got a girl back home who's waiting for me.
Oh, it's so much of that, so much lazy. Like, check this out. Here's a picture of. Oh, there's a montage of pictures of wives in wallets of the people who have died. It gets crazy with that. But also the wolves are dumb. But when it goes to things that aren't the wolves and are just like the natural isolation, it can be really tense. So there are some really great moments, but it's not as great as the people who like say it's really amazing is. But it's not as bad as like your standard Liam Neeson being Liam Neeson film. It's all right. It's
definitely
fine.
better than Taken 2.
I would agree there.
Yeah,
I don't like Taken 2.
Well, I still have to watch it, so I can't really judge. But yeah, I know that is maybe, at this point, I think it's Kevin's number 2 favorite film of the year.
Yeah,
so,
Cloud Atlas just beat it out, I think, for him.
Yeah. So, which I need to see Cloud Atlas this week. That's on my plan to see this week because I don't think it'll be around in theaters up here next week. So I've got to get that done. But yeah, so our end of the year is shaping up to be interesting. The top 10, bottom 10 at this point might as well just be entitled Screen Pups versus, because I think it's just gonna be our greatest fights, which I don't want it to be that.
It won't get too
We'll do
fighty.
it Avengers versus X-Men style. We'll release several episodes with no fighting in it, and then the other episodes will be our fights.
That should be the paid content on screen. Like for the subscribers, you get to hear the shit that we cut out. But yeah, it's I do not want I do not want our end of the year thing to be just a bunch of fights. Which I mean, we should have not arguments, but we should
It won't be fun. We actually, when Lit Rock showed up, we actually had some pretty civil discussions, which was crazy.
Oh, you mean with the sound of my voice thing?
Yeah, and also
no, that thing was on the brink of turning into something. Which that was like, I was worried about that honestly because with the gray, yeah, you still think it's a good movie.
You need to embrace it. You need to embrace the passionate movie. So long as you both know you can walk away and still
hatred,
and still you all you need to accept is that you can both walk away with the same opinion you came in with. But while you're there, you fight. You don't.
Like boxers where they hug afterwards. That's because that's the thing is that with the gray, you still like it. You still think it's a good movie.
I do.
But yeah, so you just don't think it's a great movie. So that would just simply be the argument there. I think that Sound of My Voice is absolute dog shit. That is almost an F for me. That is almost an F. Whereas with Lit Rock, it's one of his favorite films of the year. Might even be on his top 10. So I know that that's one of those. There's no walking away from this very well. There's no way it would not erupt into a giant argument. So I worry about that, but
don't embrace it. Embrace the hatred.
I will filibuster until Dread at least gets to number 10.
Dread.
Yes.
I'll back you up, sir.
I think our entire
the new
podcast counts as a
Alliance.
filibuster.
Hell yeah. I'll filibuster till Chronicle gets to number 1. Actually, I won't. I'm not even going to try that.
Well, these are individual lists. These are our individual lists.
Yeah, so we're not actually doing anything official. We're just talking about movies.
I was honestly for a
films
moment
never
thinking
even
that we should do, when the Oscars come around, I was honestly thinking we should do an episode where we try and pick our nominees and our winners for
I
different
think
categories.
we should do that because by that time most of the films will be out on DVD from last year and we can actually catch up properly. But not in December.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, I know that there would have to be like a rule where each of us get like 3 black balls. Like 3 black balls, we can just go, nope, and it's like, no questions, you can't have it. Nope, I used my black ball, that's it. I think that's the only way we can do it. Just nope, black ball.
Start antagonistically giving out black balls just to piss people off.
I think that if we did it that way, honestly, by the end of that session, we might all walk away and go, I finally understand the Oscars now. I finally understand why shit gets nominated.
Well, there was a lot of that on the one because we did this little the Walking Dead game one, and a lot of that is about the decisions you made morally, and so it's just me and Callum having this moral argument about which one of us is the more horrible person.
I love reading the reactions to people who have finished that game. It's like, I've finished the Walking Dead video game now. I'm just going to go sit in the corner and cry.
Fuck those people. I mean, not fuck those people, actually, but yeah. People say that the Walking Dead game is so depressing. It's not. It's an uplifting it makes you feel good about humanity, but also kind of... It's not... Like, in Bruges, you feel shit after watching that. It's not that. It's good. I don't get people who say that The Walking Dead will put them in depression. That's weird. Yeah, that's odd. I don't know. Anyway, it is not Requiem for a Dream. It could be, though. No. I also watched Paranorman.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. That one we can talk about.
That movie's made of clay.
Oh, it's beautiful. It is gorgeous to look at.
Oh, it looks so good. It looks so good. Oh, I love it. I love the way it looks. I think the film itself has quite a few problems in its plotting. I think there are some excellent moments in it, but like the main character, the potential there was not mined. He doesn't really go on a journey, and yet him seeing ghosts. It's barely mentioned after the first 10 minutes.
That was one of my biggest problems with that movie. It's that we see him seeing the ghost, and we see that there are so many ghosts he can't even walk down the street without bumping into them.
They never show up again.
And then the moment that they hit Act 2, there are no ghosts at all in the rest of the movie. I mean, it's not like they forget about his powers, because I think it's very interesting how he does use his powers. God damn it, sirens! Alright, hold on a second. I'm going to pause to take this part out. Why are so
They're
many
on to
people
you,
arrested?
Aaron. They're on
Why
to
are there
you.
so many people arrested in my neighborhood? And why is there a bacon bakery beneath me?
That sounds awesome.
There is a place that opened right underneath me, and my entire apartment smells like bacon now, and it's called The Baconry, and it's where they take, like, muffins and brownies, and they cook bacon into it.
Are they allowing me to name shops now? What's going on?
Oh, you know what? Fuck it, I'm keeping this part in. Anyway.
But yeah, no, with the Paranormal, it does have like some really great. It's beautiful. There's some great gags. One of the gags early on I thought was one of the funniest gags I've ever seen in the film this year. Then promptly forgot what the gag was, so that's great. I know there was a moment in the first 45 minutes that I thought was hilarious. Can't remember it now. That's a bit terrible. And like just the way they treat some of the like stereotypical characters, like the bully and the jock and the ditzy girl, is excellent. But there's a lot of untapped potential there.
There is so much untapped potential, and that is my biggest problem with this movie. It's that it looks like, I compare it to like if scripts were a blueprint, because physically the thing I think is gorgeous and perfect. But as far as just the script, which that's why I always go down to what my grades always boil down to is the script. I compare this script to like if you told someone to make a blueprint for a really good house, and they came back and you looked at it and went, well, on the outside it really does look like a good house, and you did a great job there with that room, but you're missing a pillar here, and here, and without those it doesn't really stand.
I don't have any pillars in my house. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, I mean like support beams or whatever you want to call it. No, yes, I'm sitting in a mansion.
That is one
here.
crazy mansion. You're living in the mansion of Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes, my studio apartment in New York may be one room, but it is a damn fine room. Yes. Maybe I would have more space for my stuff in the studio apartment if I didn't have so many goddamn pillars everywhere, but it makes it look nice. But no, support beams, we'll go with that.
Yeah, this metaphor needs saving, quick.
Most of mine do. But yeah, it's like, like you mentioned, the ghost. That was a big problem with mine, is that, there's a moment in there in which they are in the town hall looking for a very old piece of document and nobody can find it. I thought, wouldn't there be like 9 ghosts sitting around you right now who would probably know? Or, I mean, it's even if they didn't help him, just the mere fact that that it never is seen at all as soon as Act 2 starts, and they establish they're everywhere. So it kind of bugged me that we didn't see it. Maybe as soon as the witch comes back, like all the ghosts go, I'm getting out of here, and just go to the next town over. I don't know. They don't forget his powers, though, and I think it's very clever what they do with his powers at the end. I won't go into spoiler territory on that, but I love the message kind of behind how he uses his powers.
I actually think that my biggest problem with it is the ending. I mean, because his character is, for a huge outcast character who affects change on the world, his character doesn't have any kind of journey whatsoever.
Not really. He's the same person at the end, kind of. It's that everyone around him changed.
But that's ridiculous. Because it's the Spider-Man thing again. But you get this person who everyone hates, and then the way that that all concludes with the villain and stuff, and you don't see you don't tap into that huge potential for drama there in that really interesting lead character. I thought, how can you not? How can you not do that? Well,
I think it's more of that they were trying to say that Norman is right. Norman is good as he is, and that it's that the world has now come to accept him. But yeah, I think it's that Norman... Actually, you know what? There is a little bit of change, because before he didn't want any friends, and by the end he is kind of happy to have a friend. So I kind of did see a change there. But, you know, to me it was more of like the other characters and the change that they go through I didn't really buy into. Like, he's got this great supporting cast around him on this wacky adventure, but, like, you know, the sister hates him so much. Yeah, and it seems like she was going to sell him into slavery at one point just to buy sneakers. But then there comes that point in which he stands up to the crowd and goes, "No, leave my brother alone. He is working hard, and you should all be thankful for him." And I just went, "Bitch, you did not earn that.
Yeah,
you did not."
The transformations are not earned.
Exactly. There are no transformations in this that I believe are earned, except for Norman accepting that he does want a friend. I thought that was. But aside from that, all the supporting characters, I did not believe any of the transformations, really. But yeah, so like I said, it's one of those things in which, yeah, this looks like a good script, but as soon as you start kind of like tinkering, like pulling it apart,
it's
you go,
still a
it's
good
missing
script.
some
It's still
stuff.
a decent enough script.
It's really
works.
good. It's just missing the things. It's like it's missing a few support beams that's needed to make it great.
Yeah, I give it 3 pillars out of 5. I don't know.
We still need to come up with our rating system. All I've got is that D is for dog shit, and I think the F rating should be rage quit, but I'm still tinkering with that. I don't know. But, anyway, so yeah, anybody seen anything else?
No?
Okay. I saw 2 movies, one of which might be in my top 10, one of which will probably be in my bottom 10.
Did you see Battleship? Did you see Battleship?
Not yet.
Battleship?
Not yet. And and one might be in my top 10, one might be in my bottom 10, and they were both about closeted gay men doing really nice things for people.
When you say really nice things...
Yes, I saw Bernie, and I saw Tyler Perry's Good Deeds.
Is Bernie a portmanteau of Bert and Ernie?
He does kind of look like Ernie. He kind of looks like Ernie. I can say that.
Because they did combine the 2 words there, so I think I know what they're saying.
But no, it's Bernie is this movie, and it's like half documentary, half actual film, because they take these interviews from townspeople who lived through this event, and they splice it in there, but then they'll also get actors come in and basically reenact the things of the documentary that the townspeople are talking about. And there was a long point there in which I was going, are these actors or are they actual people? Because the stuff that they talk about in here is so crazy and so over the top that I was like, these have to be written lines. But then it gets to a point where it goes even crazier than that. And you go, no, these are real people. This has to have been a real thing. And yeah, at the end of the credits, it comes up and says, and these were actual real people. And they just, filmed a little documentary style and get them to tell the story. And the story is that there was this man who moves to a small town in Texas and starts working as a funeral director. And he is the nicest guy in town. Everybody loves him. He does such great things for everybody. Wants to be everybody's friend. Buys people stuff without them even asking or it being an occasion just because he wants to make them smile. Nicest guy ever. And he decides he is going to be nice to this one old lady who is evil. Who is the meanest old lady who has ever lived. And he keeps trying to make her nice. Keeps trying to, cheer her up. And eventually, they kind of just become friends. In fact, he kind of becomes her only friend. And I won't say what happens after that, because if you haven't seen the trailers, it's a big shock. If you have seen the trailers, they say it right in there. But it's a big shock when it happens if you haven't. But from there, it gets really interesting, because there is a twist. And, I mean, I won't go any further, but it's definitely worth a look. It might be one of my favorites of the year. And it's incredibly well acted. Matthew McConaughey plays this sleazy lawman who is the sleaziest you have ever seen. We're going to talk about the Spirit Awards in a little bit, and Matthew McConaughey got a Best Supporting Actor nomination for Magic Mike. And he's good in Magic Mike. He should have been nominated for Bernie. That's all I'm saying. And the other one was Tyler Perry's Good Deeds.
Why do you do this to yourself?
You know what? I've never actually seen a Tyler Perry film, so I had to finally get it out of the way. And you know what? This is the thing. This was Tyler Perry trying to be dramatic, and it is just hilariously bad because it is so over the top. there is, I mean, this movie should have just been called Tyler Perry's Drama for Your Ass, because it is drama from start to finish.
I'd watch that.
Yes, it's just drama from start to finish, and it's so over the top. You know, in a soap opera, when something dramatic gets said and they have that music in the background, that is throughout the entire movie. It is present in almost every scene. And I mean, it's about Tyler Perry, who is this wealthy guy who is a fifth generation Ivy League scholar. Which, you know, for a second I questioned it, but then I went, well, you know, he could be like a quarter white or something, because I kept kind of looking at it as like, your grandfather had to have been like the first black guy to graduate from college, from an Ivy League school. But then I went, no, it could be a quarter white, I guess. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to ignore that. But he is wealthy, you know, runs a Fortune 500 company. He is a millionaire, and he is in this life that he doesn't really know if he wants, but everyone has told him he wants it.
So, what did you say the main character is? He calls himself Tyler Perry?
No. It's Tyler Perry plays.
Oh, what's his name?
Wesley Deeds.
Deeds?
Yes, Deeds. Wesley Deeds. But anyway, so he is like this very privileged guy who's been millionaire his entire life, but he works hard and he's got a good heart. And he meets this janitor who works at his company, and she's got a daughter, and her husband died in the war, which I was looking at that and Michelle was yes. And she says, yeah, well, I was in nursing school, but my husband, he died fighting in Iraq. And I was sitting there watching this, and Michelle was sitting right next to me, and Michelle is a veteran. Michelle used to be in the Navy, and at that moment, just the silence was broken by, bullshit! And I turned to her, and she goes, yeah, if your husband is in the armed forces and he dies, you get money. You don't, she still would be getting the payments. I was like, oh, this movie doesn't do its research for like a second, but I mean, it is so dramatic because this woman has like nothing but one bad thing happen after another. She loses her house, all of her stuff is stolen. She goes to a homeless shelter. And then for a moment I'm like, you know, I gotta use the bathroom, I'll be right back. I'll leave, and the moment I close the door, I just hear, no! Help me! Oh God, get off! And then I come back out and I go, what I miss? And Michelle just went, oh, she just got raped by a homeless guy in the homeless shelter. I went, God damn it! Wow. And that's the thing, is that it is so dramatic and poorly acted and directed, and the soundtrack is hilarious.
Oh, what's the
and
soundtrack?
They don't think about anything at all. But here's the thing.
Is it hardcore hip-hop?
This is the secret for me when it comes to movies. This is my little secret. As long as you try, I can't hate you. And I will say this about Tyler Perry. I don't know about Medea. It seems like with his Medea character, he just is doing those for the checks at this point. But when I was watching this, I will say this about Tyler Perry. He's a terrible writer, director, and actor. He is an ultimate triple threat, but he's trying. And I gotta give him that. You watch this and you do not sense that it's lazy or that he's just doing a cash-in, or you sense that he's actually trying. And I was like, you know, I just want to give him a gold star, because it's like, you tried. And that's really the best thing I can say about this movie. It fails on every level, but he tried. So I gotta give him that.
Would you say it's it? You go.
Oh, you need to see Alex Cross.
I do. That comes out in January. That comes out in early February, so I won't be on DVD.
DVD, yeah.
It's out of theaters. Yeah, there's no catching that now.
Oh well, there's the internet, but yeah. That movie, I was like, I have a free ticket. I'll use it on that because there's nothing really else on I want to see. Oh man, just how bad was that movie?
Oh yeah, but that's not really a Tyler Perry like directed and written project. They got him to star in it.
That was meant to be Idris Elba with a completely different script, and God damn it.
I would have loved
let me ask you about this, because I was listening to some reviews of that, and everybody said it, once again, it's terrible, but he's at least trying. Did you get that feeling that Tyler Perry was still at least trying to act?
Yeah, I think he gives a good old college try in everything he does, but trying doesn't mean you're good at it. It means you tried.
Yeah, it's like I said, terrible writer, terrible director, terrible actor in this film. It's all three things are terrible in this movie, but I can tell he was working on it. I can tell he tried. So I can't hate the film. I cannot hate a film that tries. So this one, it may make my bottom 10 because it is just that bad. But yeah, if it doesn't, it's only because Tyler Perry worked his butt off on it. But yeah, anyway, I saw something else, but I'm totally blanking on it. Oh, I'll have to think of it later. But yeah, anybody ready for some news stories?
Yep.
Let's go news.
Yeah, let's go into the news. All right, Jackson, you gathered some things, I gathered some things. Who wants to start?
I'll start with this kind of non-story thing that I just want to talk about because it's dumb. After the Iron Man 3 trailer, everyone was like, oh my god, this movie's dark. And I didn't see the trailer because I watched the goddamn film. And then they had put out this story. I just gone from my screen. Hold on, let me get it back up. And it was basically Kevin Feige talking about Iron Man 3, going like, don't worry, it's not that dark. But the words he uses are so non-specific and non-committal. They're just like, it's not about making the dark film, it's about making a good film that is good, but also light and sometimes dark. It's like, what the fuck are you saying?
Did he just devolve into saying it is dark and edgy? Just dark and edgy?
No, he has a really good quote. I've lost it now. Hold on. It is. The headline on the article I found is, Iron Man 3 won't be a serious movie, but he says this, it's not a serious movie, but we seriously dig into exploring more of Tony. The trick is just trying to make great movies. We try to make them all great, all different and fresh. What you see in Iron Man 3 is some very unique directions that were taken. And it's like, what is this? Why?
That's one of those answers that you get. That's one of those answers that you give when you're like woken up in the middle of the night and gone, tell us about Iron Man 3. It's a great movie. We're taking different directions. But honestly, it kind of sounds, this is the guy, it's by Shane Black, and that's the guy who did, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And, it's kind of, it makes me think of that. Just the little tiny bits that they put in there. It's like, you know what? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, it was serious, yet not a serious film. Goes in different directions with characters, so...
Yeah. Just watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and you will understand how a film can be both dark and light at the same time. It's really easy to comprehend. Oh, the Iron Man 3 fake controversy over that trailer.
There's no controversy. And also, let me just say, hey, I am the guy who I'm the guy who loved Avengers because it was not that dark, and because it was very uplifting and it left you feeling high. But, in order to leave you feeling high, you have to have drama. You have to have something. You have to have the threats. So, hey, Iron Man has been kind of a little bit goofy for the past two ones, and that worked for it, but...
Iron Man 2 tried... There were bits where it looked like it was going to go real dark, but they didn't commit. If they had committed to that full alcoholism stuff, that would have been excellent, but they didn't...
Well, yeah, exactly. They couldn't do Demon in the Bottle. They had to do the virus. Yeah, which, by the way, in a weird way, if they had committed to it, Matt Fraction in the comics has done some great stuff with Tony going to, like, AA meetings, but at the same time, I love seeing Robert Downey Jr. with a bottle of scotch on camera, with the glass of scotch on camera. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to really lose that.
I wouldn't want him to go fully in that, but just in the fact that he was like not caring about him surviving and all that stuff.
Oh, I totally get what you're saying.
The second Nick Fury turns up, they just throw all that away.
It's
really disappointing.
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Let's see. What's the next news story?
Well, in more comic book news, which is the kind of craziest news, they've got everyone from the first X-Men First Class back in the second one, but most importantly, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are in it.
I love this news story.
Best news ever.
That's awesome.
But what the hell are they doing with Have one X-Men.
Well, no, yeah. We've said the storyline for the next one is Days of Future Past. And Days of Future Past is about in an apocalyptic future where the government hunts mutants almost to the point of extinction. They have to send a message back in time to themselves to prevent the thing that causes this future.
Oh no, I know how it could get in. I know how those two can get in.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's just getting really crazy with like, okay, you're gonna have that, but you're still probably not gonna have, fucking Wolverine, who is the basis of this story.
Yeah, that is weird that they're not
there.
No, he might show up, but Days of Future Past. He'll show up like he showed up in First Class and be the best thing in it, but he won't show up.
Have the movie start with Wolverine dying, and that will really go, oh shit, this is serious. This future.
But they
is
can't
because
they're also doing the Wolverine films.
No. What? Have it start with him. No. Have it start with him dying in the future. In this future that they're trying to prevent, and that lets you know how fucked up this future is. Have it start with the Sentinel blasting Wolverine and just having his skeleton left there.
In less than 10 years, the X-Men movie franchise became the most complicated franchise in timelines ever. That's how did that happen?
I think it's because that, nobody liked Wolverine Origins, nobody liked X-Men 3. Well, some people like X-Men 3, but nobody liked Wolverine Origins. And with X-Men First Class, they negated X-Men Origin. I mean, they negated Wolverine Origins. They did.
And 3, parts of 3.
Little bits of 3, you're right. Little bits of 3, they did. And so with this one, it's basically them just going, you know what, X-Men first, the first one and the second one still happened. X-Men 3 no longer happened.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah, that's basically what they're doing with this.
But no, they've also because don't they also have the Wolverine, which is set after Last Stand?
Oh, that's completely separate. They have come out and said this is tied into the other X-Men films in no way. This is just a Wolverine adventure. There's going to be no ties into the other movies. It's just Wolverine in Japan, totally separate from everything else.
All right.
See, I don't get why everyone is now... I get why everyone is pushing for their own continuity, but at the same time, not everything needs to match up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, James Bond got away with it for 50 years.
Yeah, but they never sold a story as a prequel. They're trying to have their cake and eat it. If they just went, this is just an X-Men film, what the X-Men are, go, that would be way better. But
just give me that. Just now we're making the Age of Apocalypse.
Well, there's a
Messiah complex.
Well, there's a kind of a small problem when it comes to a team book like that. You could have done that with Spider-Man. You did not need to reboot Spider-Man. You could have just had the new guy Spider-Man, new Spider-Man adventure. Well, actually, you know what? No, you did kind of need... You know what? I just figured out what it is. Forget everything that I just said. I know why it is that way. It's because comic book characters only have a set number of villains, whereas with James Bond, you can create a new villain for every single movie. If, say, with the Spider-Man film, if they had not done the reboot, then we would never see Green Goblin, Venom, Doc Ock ever again, and it would just be kind of what they're doing now, which was Lizard, Electro, and then even they kind of went, yeah, okay, fuck it, Green Goblin's the third one, because they could not think of another one. With X-Men, and also with X-Men, there's a limited number of X-Men characters, so yeah, they kind of need to do something like this in which they can kind of go, okay, here's Cyclops coming in again, here's Storm coming in again, because as soon as you kill one character off or something in the franchise, guess what? He ain't coming back. You can't get a new one.
That's what really ruined the first 4 Batman films, I think, is they tried to keep continuity across different creative teams. And why? Why was that necessary?
Oh, well, like I'm saying...
Oh, no, you killed the Joker in the first one. Well, comic books. There. Comics.
Comic books.
Well, yeah, but imagine if, Goldfinger was the villain of the next
every James Bond film.
Yeah, exactly. You can't keep killing off, you can't have every director kill off Goldfinger every single time.
At the end of every James Bond film, it's a twist, and the villain was working for Goldfinger, Joker style. You never saw it coming, but it was Joker all along. No, James Bond fights the Joker. There we go. That's what I want. I want James Bond versus Joker.
That's not bad. All right. What's the next story?
Do you want to talk about the Independent Spirit Awards?
Yeah, let's talk about the Independent Spirit Awards a little bit, because the nominations came out for that a little bit, and I looked at them, and aside from, aside from Sound of My Voice getting nominated for Best New Film, which that's the thing, is it did not get nominated for anything else. It was just that, and it got nominated for Best New Film, Best, First Film, or however it's said. And also got nominated for Best Actress, but I will admit, she's a great actress, and that the actress they chose was very good for that. Aside from that, I didn't really have any problems. That, and also, as I said earlier, Matthew McConaughey should have been nominated for Bernie rather than Magic Mike. But let's just run down who got the Best Feature: Beast of the Southern Wild, Bernie, Keep the Lights On, Moonrise Kingdom, Silver Lining Playbook. That's the other movie I saw, Moonrise Kingdom. I saw Moonrise Kingdom.
Hell yeah! What do you think of Moonrise Kingdom?
What?
What did Mike just said something.
Oh, I love that movie. It's just
okay, good,
whimsical.
It's weird for me, Moonrise Kingdom. I am of two minds on that one. I wish Michelle was here because she loved the hell out of it. She would go and talk with you guys for a while, and I could just slowly creep out of the room.
It's no Rushmore. It goes.
Oh, holy crap! She just walked in.
Hi.
All right.
Were you talking about me?
Moonrise Kingdom.
We were talking about Moonrise Kingdom, and I said I wish Michelle was here because she loved the hell out of that movie, so she could talk to you guys while I creep out of the room. You just walked in.
Yes. What convenient timing.
Yes, shit. All right. Anyway, as I was saying about Moonrise Kingdom, I'm of two minds about it. It was weird because this is a romantic story, and normally in a romance, my head might be kind of meh, and my heart will be like, oh, shut up, head. This is amazing, and I absolutely love it. In this movie, my head was looking at this going, oh man, I see all the layers that they're doing, and the set design is so incredible, and I know what they're doing. They're trying to make this seem like a love story from the point of view of a child. That's why so many characters are blown out of proportion or just seem like a weird caricature. That's brilliant, and I also love that it kind of in a way looks like a weird stage production on the same level as that stage production that the girl was doing at the beginning. I think that this is working marvelously, and my heart was just kind of, this is good. This is pretty good.
It's a late period Wes Anderson film, but you can get kind of emotionally detached from it.
I think it's that if I had not seen enough other Wes Anderson films, I would have been more blown over. But I think because like I said, my head was loving the shit. If this was a banquet, it would have been a giant, huge, marvelously put together feast with a nice little ice sculpture in the middle. My head would have looked at that and went, "This is incredible. I love it. This tastes gorgeous." And my heart would have just come over and gone, "Hey man, they've got nuts over at the bar. Why are you eating nuts, you idiot? There's this great meal right here." Nah, I'm cool. I filled up on nuts.
I got some nuts.
I got some nuts.
Nothing wrong with nuts.
I'm going to go hit on the waitress now.
I felt pretty depressed after seeing that film for about an hour.
Really?
So, really depressed. Or just like, man, my childhood never had anything exciting like this. That's my main reaction to a childhood adventure film. Is I just feel really weird about it, because that does stir up. It's really good at stirring up childhood nostalgia for that kind of innocence way. And then when you don't have much of that to actually be nostalgic for, you're like, yeah. But I take that as a good thing that the movie does actually tap into. It taps into what kind of outcast kids feel really well, even if
that's Wes Anderson's bread and butter is get a kid who feels like an outcast but is brilliant, and that's what he probably drawing from personal experience there, but that's exactly what this film was. So it's one of those in which, if I was picking Oscar movies, I would definitely go with it. But for my top 10, I don't know if I can really do it, because for some reason my heart was just kind of, this is okay. This is good. But yeah, it's like I could see everything that was happening, and I could see why this movie is brilliant. Just, I was not getting that real connection. I think it's because I've seen it for the same reason why I didn't really get a big connection to Frankenweenie. Because, with both those films, it's like, okay, I've seen what this director has done before, and I'm jaded to it a little bit. I saw it immediately after seeing Rushmore, and I was kind of really disappointed with it, because Rushmore beats it on every level, and it's very similar. And then after I went back and watched his other films, I kind of looked more positively on it, because it's a big step up from Darjeeling. I haven't seen that one, so that's...
You're fine. It's posh white people dealing with posh white people problems in India. It's
also Wes Anderson's bread and butter. So
yeah, exactly. And And in that context, I actually think it works better if you've gone through all the Wes Anderson-ness.
Mm. But yeah, so let's keep going through. Best first feature, Fill the Void, Gimme the Loot. Haven't heard of either of those, but then there was also Safety Not Guaranteed, which I've seen and thoroughly enjoyed. Sound of My Voice, we've talked about that. Perks of Being a Wallflower, haven't seen but want to. And yeah, just reading through the rest of these, there's nothing really that surprised me. There was a lot more accurate than, like, say, Oscars or Emmys, which I think is because the Spirit Awards aren't quite as bought out as easily. I was shocked by Best Screenplay to Seven Psychopaths simply because I did not think that was an independent film. But, I mean, it absolutely deserves Best Screenplay. I love the hell out of it, but I did not think it was an independent film.
No, that guy does his, like, after Inbridge, he's pretty independent.
Really? Alright, that's cool. But yeah, aside from that, there's really no shocks in here. Best cinematography, Moonrise Kingdom. I was sitting there watching that, thinking of how beautiful that was. Best documentary, really hoping it goes to the Central Park 5. Even though that's a hard film for me to watch because that's about social injustice, and whenever I watch something about that, it just keeps me up at night going, God damn it, there's nothing I can do. So, I'm not Batman, I'm not going to go out and free these people.
Batman doesn't fix social injustice.
He causes a lot of it, though.
He's tough on street-level crime whilst encouraging a huge conning on a billion-dollar scale with his research and development program. Yes. Batman. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Any other news stories?
Yeah. Hold on. You said you had a couple more.
I had a couple more. Yeah. I'll fill some time while you find the rest. After over a year now of Warner Brothers going, no, goddammit, we are doing this. We don't care what you guys say. We know what we're doing. This is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to go through. They finally came out this week and said, all right, fine, there's no Green Lantern 2. That franchise is dead.
Yay. My dad will be sad, though, because he actually likes that movie for some reason.
Who?
My dad. He likes that movie. I don't know why.
That's not even like a dad movie. That's not.
It's a bad movie.
I know. No.
That's good punning.
What voice was that?
That I don't know what voice that is. That's
was like
Simpsons
Conan
character.
O'Brien-esque.
Conan O'Brien does that. The Simpsons have done it a lot, but I don't know what they're both originally ripping off.
Sounds a tad like Hans Moleman, but not all the way.
Yeah. But anyway, but yeah, Green Lantern. Oh man, that's. Anybody who knows me, Green Lantern is right behind Spider-Man on those comic book franchises that I love and follow, but goddamn, that movie just, that fucked up on almost every level.
Yeah.
Green Lantern should be one of the best superhero franchises. Just the way that whole thing is built. It's
a
amazing,
space cop. Seriously.
How can you fuck that? Oh, that's how. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just want to, Marvel's got Guardians of the Galaxies coming out next year. They're just going.
They have a raccoon.
Yes.
They have a raccoon.
I have an army. We have a raccoon.
Fuck you.
Yes. But yeah, I just want Marvel to come in and once again just show them how it's done with Guardians of the Galaxy. Which, by the way, started doing its casting this week, and there's a bunch of names coming up that I don't know. Although, by the way, still throwing it out there, Ron Perlman as Rocket Raccoon. Just saying.
Oh, yes.
Ron Perlman as Rocket Raccoon.
As some kind of, surly old, I don't even give a fuck bounty hunter.
Yeah, that's because that's what Rocket Raccoon is. He's the weapons expert of the team.
Yeah.
He's the Wolverine of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that'd be the best.
He's the guy who packs, 10 guns on his back that are each larger than him. That's what Rocket Raccoon should be. He needs to be Ron Perlman, just sort of
And his first line is just, space war never changes.
Yes. But I would just hear Ron Perlman and see his face, though. I like Ron Perlman. Not sure I would want him to voice Rocket Raccoon.
Fair enough.
Who's a better surly guy for that role? Once again,
Dennis
we need
Quaid.
to fucking do that casting call podcast. This is becoming more and more of a reality.
This is your
every
dream.
episode.
Your dream.
It's become my new dream, yeah. Dennis Quaid's not bad.
The guy that plays Kumar in Aaron Kumar. No, it's not a serious choice. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't really know many Surly actors.
Yeah.
I'm not a good
Gene
one for
Hackman.
names.
Oh,
Yes,
fuck.
that's a good one.
Damn.
Or,
I love the smell of
nearly
space
said
napalm in the morning.
I nearly said Han Solo. I mean, Harrison Ford from
I do not
Cowboys
want
and
Rocket
Aliens,
Raccoons.
'cause
I
that
do
was
not want
basically
Rocket
Surly
Raccoons on
Gene
E.
Hackman.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, him in that role is pretty good for that. I will give that. But man, he is a hard dog to keep on the porch at this point. It's I think that he just doesn't care anymore, and I think for a voiceover role, you kind of have to care. But I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, what was the other news story that I had?
I got another one, which
Oh, yep,
is
go.
they have the synopsis for Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh yeah.
I saw that. I have not read it yet.
I-
You're the only one among us who did not like the Star Trek movie. What does this one sound like to you?
Guess what? I think this sounds fucking terrible. So it's probably going to be. So it's probably it's not Star Trek. I'll tell you right now. It's probably going to be all right. All right. It is. When the crew of the Enterprise is called back home, they find an sorry, I should be really reading this out in a more dramatic voice for Star Trek. I won't though. When the crew of the Enterprise is called back home, they find an unstoppable force of terror from within their own organization has detonated the fleet and everything it stands for, leaving our world in a state of crisis. With a personal score to settle, Captain Kirk leads a manhunt into a war zone to capture a one-man weapon of mass destruction. As our heroes are propelled into an epic chess game of life and death, love will be challenged, friendships will be torn apart, and sacrifices must be made for the only family Kirk has left, his crew.
I'm just picturing Kirk playing chess, but with that ba 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 noise in the back, death battle music in the background.
If they bring, because in the first episode of Star Trek, they actually played chess, Kirk and Spock, but it was like some crazy future chess with weird levels and stuff.
Chess.
3-dimensional chess, yeah,
Man, that means
I
you're gonna
don't-
kill Bruce Greenwood.
pretty much probably.
Well, damn, I like him.
Maybe they'll kill Simon Pegg, and then he can go back to doing good movies.
Simon Pegg's got to make that money somehow.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that he's in. I love Mission Impossible 4, but just Simon Pegg in the I'm the comedy British guy role, he is so much better.
He's done it way too many times now.
It's so tired. Go make your good film, Simon Pegg. Go and bank checks no more. But yeah, what do you all think of that? Because I don't like it. But yeah, you sane people.
Once again, it sounds like nothing to me. It sounds like this is not a new. It sounds like big things happen in the new Star Trek film.
When something goes wrong, someone will have to do something about it and play chess.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in seeing what they do with Benedict Cumberbatch. And other than that, I don't give a crap because I don't like Star Trek and I don't like any. Okay, I like Zachary Quinto a bit, but yeah.
I don't like this Star Trek. I do not like J.J. Abrams at all, and this sounds like more needless war and not what I love about Star Trek. So, you know,
Yeah.
I can go for some space war movies, but just not in the place of Star Trek.
How would you feel about the Star Trek film if it was just not called Star Trek? If all those characters were, not named after, they didn't share the same names, the ship looked different, it was not called Star Trek.
Yeah, okay. I would think it was a okay movie with way too much dumb comic relief where it doesn't need it. A stupid trip to. I mean, obviously that movie's so tied into the original continuity, but just the pacing is really bad in the ice planet, and the main problem with it is the character arc between Spock and Kirk makes absolutely no sense. There's no point where you can go, Spock is now Kirk's friend. He suddenly decides to become Kirk's friend because the plot demands that Kirk be captain, and it's just, and as soon as that doesn't work, you don't believe any of the relationships, and it all falls down. And I don't think J.J. Abrams has ever really got that right. So I'm not a fan.
I got you.
But it's okay. There are good bits to the original Star Trek movie, like the bit on Earth at the beginning is okay. The opening 10 minutes is decent. Nero is excellent, mainly for the way he greets people on intergalactic Skype calls. And yeah, so it's okay, but it's not great.
Well, got any other news stories for us?
I have one.
Oh,
Go.
I was just going to say a comment about Larry Hagman passing away.
Yep, that was my next one.
Oh, I didn't even know that happened. Oh, that's a shame.
Did you not?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Spoilers?
That's not cool.
I know, that was pretty bad.
I thought someone was going to make her... I thought someone was going to make any other of the myriad of terrible jokes about Dallas and death.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he still on Dallas?
Yes.
He was filming season 2 of New Dallas, which is actually a kind of good show during the summer when I had nothing to watch. I might have some Schadenfreude, or however you say it, with that show now.
Close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He was on I Dreamed... He was the original guy from, I Dreamed a Genie, it turns out. Which...
Oh, you're right, he was! I totally forgot that fact.
I was like, oh my god, I can't square those two characters now.
Dallas is a continuation of I Dreamed a Genie. That was his last wish.
That would be
Make
the
me
most
a rich
ultimate
oil baron.
That'd be the most ultimate crossover ever.
Well, that's a shame. Yeah.
It's always sad to hear for someone die, but as he goes, he's had a pretty long and pretty awesome life. So I say, well done.
Yeah, I mean, that dude was 91 years old.
Was it 91 or 81?
He was in his 90s, I know that, because he was, it was 1931 he was born.
So, 81.
Yeah.
It's 80. If I make it to 60, I'll be. Frankly, if I make it to 40, I'll be pleased. But just he has done so much. He's been one classic character. That is a life to be. I mean, obviously, it's sad when someone goes, but celebrate someone for achieving at the end of their life rather than just feeling sad.
Yeah, and he was still acting. It might have been in the Dallas reboot, but he was still acting at that age.
He was. He did a lot, and he did well. So
yeah. All right. Well.
He won life.
Yeah, he did. Well, I've got a next news story. Lenny Kravitz will be playing Marvin Gaye in a biopic.
That could be kind of interesting.
I do not know enough about Marvin Gaye's life. I know his music, and I enjoy his music, but I don't know enough about his life to know how interesting the biopic would be, but I can see that as a good pick. He was decent enough in Hunger Games.
Yeah, I like that song he made for Death Note, L Save the World.
Wait, he did?
Yeah. Yeah, he made this I'll Be There song or something like that. It's actually kind of nice.
Now I'm imagining Death Note with the Friends theme tune. So thanks.
Why with the Friends theme song?
Because he said, I'll be there. And I was like...
Yeah. Then I need to show you Game of Thrones
Death Note movies had... The Death Note movies had really weird musical tie-ins at the end. I remember watching the first Death Note movie, and at the end, all of a sudden, California just started coming in. I was like, that has nothing to do with anything, and it's not even the right tone.
They should let me soundtrack a Death Note movie. It's a Death Note movie, everything happens, fade to black. Somebody once told me the world is gonna... It'd be awesome.
Hey now, you're an all-star, killing people with their names.
They're dead. Oh, that's amazing.
That would be great. We have our intro theme song now.
Write them in the Death Note. Only shooting stars. Okay.
Any other news stories?
That was our comment on Marvin Gaye and Lenny Kravitz. Within 1 minute into a discussion about a Marvin Gaye biopic, we're singing Smash Mouth in relation to Death Note. That's impressive.
That may be the best non sequitur we've ever done. That was a hell of a jump. Nathan Drake could not have made that jump. That was huge.
We jumped so high, we're walking on the sun.
Anything else?
I'm kind of tapped out now.
Right.
Everyone's been having Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. Apparently, Avatar sequel's filming next year. No one cares.
I don't believe it.
I thought that was supposed to be filming this year. That thing is getting pushed back.
Isn't he supposed to make Evangelion, whatever that anime?
No.
Is?
It was Battle Suit Angel something. Fuck. It wasn't Evangelion. James Cameron was not doing Evangelion.
I would watch Battlesuit Angels something fuck.
That sounds like a movie that you'd find on Cinemax late at night.
No, that sounds like what South Park's ripoff of Evangelion would be. Like, Battlesuit something, who gives a fuck, you'll watch it anyways.
Space robots, y'all.
Spobots.
And as you might have all noticed, we did not talk about the Joseph Gordon-Levitt rumors of being in Justice League as Batman, because it's not happening, and that's totally not true.
And fuck
Is that not happening?
Yeah, fuck that. That is a terrible idea. The only reason why I think that might possibly be true is because DC does not know that much what they're doing with their stuff. That is how clueless their film division is with what they're doing, that they might actually try and do that. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt will chew his arm off to not do that. I can tell you that right now.
Does he not want to?
There's no way in hell he wants to. He has not. His representation has already come out and said no, that's not happening. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is. If you've ever listened to him in an interview, he said, "No, I did the G.I. Joe just so I could do one goofy thing. I never want to do anything like that again." And so, yeah, there's no way in hell he wants to do that.
Unless they give him Anderson Silva money.
He is the new Batman. I don't understand. I don't understand DC. What?
He's too short to me.
No, I don't know, but I mean, just with the Dark Knight, he is Batman now. That's what happened. He's Batman.
Yeah, he is Batman.
But whatever. But just that's DC. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. The only thing they did have going for them was Batman, and Dark Knight Rises didn't do a great job with continuing that.
Well, that and they also, before that movie even came out, they came out and said, "This is not our Batman. We have given Christopher Nolan the right to do anything he wants with this character because it is his own separate world now. It's totally separate from ours. And as soon as it's done, we're going to reboot it with our Batman." And I was like, you fucking idiots. You only had one good movie out there, and you just said it's not yours.
The Man of Steel could be okay.
It can be okay. It can be okay, but man, it is not looking good.
It would be really hard to be worse than Sucker Punch. Let's just say that.
Oh, well, it's not going to be worse than Sucker Punch, but I mean, I'm going, like I said, you got Zack Snyder and you got Christopher Nolan wanting to do an edgy, darker Superman, and I just keep thinking, I do not want a Superman who looks down at Metropolis and goes, "They all look like ants." I do not want that.
I want that, but I want that to be earned after like a whole 3 movies of begrudgingly serving this pathetic world and then eventually snapping and going all Watchmen on their arse.
No, I do not want that at all. There was a story arc and it just came out on DVD as an animated feature. Superman versus the Elite, I think it was called. And it was basically about those darker, edgier heroes, the ones who kill villains, the ones who do not work with the cops. They do their own thing. Basically, they came in and they said, "You know what, Superman, you're strong, and we want you to join us." And he was like, "Well, listen, you're one of the good guys, so I won't. So it's fine, but let's be cool." And basically, Superman just had to sit back and watch as the whole world went, "No, we want the heroes that kill people. We want the heroes that go around ripping people in half. We want that." And people were saying, "Superman, you're old. We don't want you anymore." And the whole thing ends with Superman finally going, "All right, fine. You want me like that? I will show you what I'm like when I'm like that." Kills 2 of the members of the other team, destroys a city block in Metropolis, and scares and becomes actually frightening, and actually causes and lobotomizes one of the other guys, and then it looks like he's killing random people in the street just by tossing cars. And then at the end of it, the Manchester Black, the guy who is the leader of this other team, he is freaking out and going, "You can't do it, man! You can't kill me! You're Superman! You can't do this!" And he goes, "You're right, I am Superman, and that's why I don't do these things." And then he just vanishes, comes back, and goes, "These guys are just knocked out. I didn't kill them." And then it's revealed that all of his Superman robots were actually protecting people and catching all the flying cars he was throwing. And he basically gives a speech about how, "You know what, man? That might be how you work, but that's not who I am. I'm Superman, and you don't want me to be like that." And yes, you do not want Superman to be like that. Because the moment that Superman finally, like, snaps Lex Luthor's neck is the moment that the Earth just got its greatest supervillain.
Yeah, I think the interest. I mean, I'd say I want a crazy doctor. I don't. I think the interesting actual dark stories to be told in the Superman thing are the other characters, like jealous of Superman, and like 'cause if you have Superman as this like perfection thing, stories about him alone aren't going to be that interesting. But if you have the other characters and how they relate to like, oh shit, there's this crazy superhero. I can't be that good. I'm just a human, and like just that is
Lex
that's
Luthor,
where I
yeah.
find that where
That is
exactly.
what Lex Luthor's origin story is. It's him just basically. Lex Luthor could have been the greatest hero the world ever knew, but instead he went, there is an alien out there, and how are you stupid ass people not smart enough to realize what a threat that is? And it basically drove him into being the nut he is. And yeah, that you need to tell as Lex Luthor's story. Except for fuck's sake, man, we've seen Lex Luthor, we've seen Zod. We do not need those villains.
Yeah.
Brainiac, son.
The lack of Brainiac in these movies I just have found astounding.
And I got a weird feeling because they showed little set images of the Superman movie, and there's a guy in mocap balls, and I just kept going, that's Doomsday. I know that's Doomsday.
You're going to will it into being Doomsday.
I know that that's Doomsday that they're throwing in there.
The pose he was standing in had a very Doomsday-like equivalent in comic book 471 is Doomsday.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Doomsday served a purpose. He's the guy that killed Superman and proved to the world that Superman is capable of being killed just by a guy beating the shit out of him. Not the guy you want. You don't have to cram him down our throats anymore. But yeah, it's, Superman to me needs to be more of a, small town boy with, a good heart moves to the big city where everyone is just bleak and slowly he makes everyone believe again. It needs to be Rise of the Guardians, except replace Santa Claus with Superman.
Why do you?
So you're saying it should be
to Don't Stop Believing?
Yeah.
What?
Don't Stop Believing the movie.
That's pretty much what you described.
Man, listen, just listen to the soundtrack from the first Superman movie and just know that's the tone. I mean, not the original Superman movie, because I honestly think it's just okay. But that music is what you should be listening to when you write the script for the Superman movie.
Can we change his tagline to Truth, Justice, and Common Sense, please? Because
I'd be cool with that.
because
the
come the hell
Republicans
on,
would get angry though.
he's an alien. How does he?
He's a naturalized American citizen. I'm sure they did that at some point.
Probably, but just
Republicans are already going to be mad at the Man of Steel movie because the villain is a job creator, Lex Luthor, who is just trying to avoid the tax cuts so that he can create more companies. And he keeps being stopped by this illegal alien, and...
Oh, man.
Wait, is that seriously the plot that he's trying to create? He can't create his companies because Superman is stopping.
No. The plot is that General Zod comes in and starts fucking shit up. That's...
Michael Shannon's playing that guy, right?
Yeah.
That is a creepy-looking dude.
He is...
It's
not bad casting, but General Zod should not be in the Superman movie. We did General Zod?
Not yet.
Yeah. It should be... I mean, if you want to go, hey, here's something from Krypton coming back, creeping everybody out, being evil, Brainiac. The whole reason why you would do... the entire purpose of General Zod is, hey, something from Krypton came back aside from you, and, this is bringing up questions about your past. Brainiac does the exact same shit, and we haven't seen it yet, and could be really cool.
And heck, what about Metella? That's a
great Metallo.
way to, yeah, that's a great way to do Lex Luthor as the Godfather villain, essentially, and you just have him fight Metallo.
There's actually... Cool. I feel really bad for Jeff Johns. At least I would if he wasn't fucking up the Justice League book at the moment. But Jeff Johns was the guy who made Green Lantern cool. He's the one who made everybody realize how badass he could be. And as soon as they announced that they were doing a Green Lantern movie, he wrote a 6-issue long story arc that was just retelling the origin in a way that it could be in a movie that really captured the spirit of Green Lantern. And it was just basically, it could not have been more clear that it was him going, here's the movie, guys, I wrote it for you, and they just went, yeah, we're good, never mind, and just totally ignored it. And they've been talking about the Superman movie for years. As soon as they announced, like, 5 years ago that it was done deal and it is bought and it's getting in production, he did the exact same thing for Superman. And you read that book, and you can't read that book without hearing in the back of your head, dun, 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 like the Superman music coming in. And once again, they just looked at it and went, nah, we're good. But that's what happened in his storyline. It was that Lex Luthor was the villain, but Parasite and Metallo were like the two muscles for him.
I'll have to go find that somewhere.
It is good.
Is it just Superman Secret Origins?
It's Superman Secret Origins. That's what it is. And that to me captures what Superman is, which is so surprising that he's fucking him up now in the Justice League books. But anyway, that's, Aaron getting off on topic on comic books again. Take a shot. Alright, well, those were our news stories. It's time for us to go into trailer talk, and we have 2 horrible ones this week. Goddamn, my worst of 2013 list is already off to a raging start. We have Dark Skies first off, which I was watching that, and I kept going, what does this remind me of? What does this seem so much like? And then it said, from the creators of Paranormal Activity. And then I went, this is Paranormal Activity just if it was not found footage. I mean, even down to the marks on the kid. It's like, everything is like step for step, exactly the same as Paranormal Activity, except at the end it turns out that it's aliens. Which I will admit, that's different.
What do you mean at the end it turns out... halfway through it turns out it's aliens.
Really?
They say it's aliens in the middle of the trailer. It's pretty clear this is an aliens film.
Oh, wait, when J.K. Simmons shows up?
Yeah, because that's all the things hit the window, and they go, it's happening all over the world. There's like UFOs and stuff.
Oh, I didn't hear the part about it happening all over the world.
Yeah. This is an alien film.
Signs on people, then, eh?
Signs on people. Yeah.
Signs on people.
Yeah, it's...
Just the scene where all the things hit the window. Who filmed that and didn't think that was funny? Like, that's never going to actually scare anyone. That is funny. That's ridiculous. The woman, like, I'm a white person and my white person world is falling apart. Let me bash my head against this window. Bang, bang.
The weird part where they're just being, like, possessed, like the husband with the mouth just really wide open, or Carrie Russell just beating her head against the window.
That fat guy just like, there's something wrong with you people. Ground and pound tries. Oh.
Oh man, this looks terrible. This looks... Oh.
But does it look worse than The Canyon?
Which is our next trailer, The Canyon, which I don't know if this... Is this for TV? Is it an actual
I don't
film?
even know if it's real.
It's definitely real. It's from the guy who made American Psycho, and ever since making American Psycho, he's been making weird shit. Like, very grindhousey, which is what this is. But yeah, it's Lindsay Lohan trying to be an actress again.
If it is doing a grindhouse thing, which it is trying to, but it's clearly doing a bad grindhouse thing, because the way the actual grindhouse effects are being put on the screen is lazy. It looks like someone's put some filters in an iMovie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is low budget. This is low budget and not with the knowledge of how to work with low budget.
Yeah, because when you watch Grindhouse, Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez thing, they took their time into making those films look like actual Grindhouse films. Fucking House of the Dead Overkill looks more like an actual Grindhouse film than this. It looks terrible.
Yeah, it totally
but
does.
Lindsay Lohan is as sexy as sin. According to that trailer, I think she's kind of hideous.
I think that The Canyon is the nickname for her, because at this point...
You guys seem to be stealing all my off-screen jokes right now and making them less funny.
No. The Canyon being her nickname. That was my off-screen joke that we made before we started recording.
Let's get into some pointless argument. I agree. I think that looks terrible. I think The Canyons is a really weird, bad suggested title that it's their joke, really. And it's not a good one. It's like the episode of Friends where they're arguing over the joke and then it turns out the joke is terrible.
I don't know why this just popped into my head, but it's probably more interesting than these two trailers. But when does G.I. Joe Attack of Cobra come out?
Like March.
Oh, that's coming out. That's good. All right, that's all.
It's still a thing. It's still coming out.
It's got The Rock and Channing Tatum as a bromance.
G.I. Joe 1 was so terrible. Like, it was so terrible. The movie stopped for 10 seconds to show Norton coming up on a computer he was trying to upload a virus to, which may have been one of my favourite bits of product placement. In the middle of a war zone, they stopped to show Norton antivirus pop up on terrorist computers. Which I find hilarious.
I can't remember. Did the Norton stop? I can't even remember. Did the Norton antivirus stop the virus from coming in?
No, he puts a USB drive in and just scans the USB drive. And then he
so
gets
in
on
other
with
words,
his thing.
It fails to prevent the virus. Norton antivirus product places themselves failing.
I don't even understand. I don't know why the terrorists have this laptop so handily placed. I don't know why the terrorists have Norton on their... I don't know why G.I. Joe exists. I don't know why it's so freaking hideous. Oh.
But it's
and they're making a second one.
But it's a pre-established franchise. People obviously must want to see a movie made out of it, like Battleship.
Battleship is not a franchise. It's a thing at best. It is basically, it is the equivalent of taking a pamphlet in a hotel lobby for an amusement park and making a movie out of that. It's
a conceptual game and a catchphrase. That is all Battleship is, and they don't even put the catchphrase in the movie.
The best they do is in the movie they go, "You're not gonna sink my battleship." That's as close as they come.
No, it's
another movie with Liam Neeson just kind of slumming it.
Oh yeah, he shows up like 10 minutes. The way they put the "you're not gonna my battleship" like kind of reference, maybe one of the most disgusting moments in anything ever. It's one of I really wasn't enjoying Battleship, but I could have just yelled "fuck you" at everyone involved at that one moment. And you'll know it. It's when AC/DC starts playing. So let me know when you see that film, because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. It's coming up. I just returned Mr. Deeds today, so it's on my list.
Not Mr. Deeds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Deeds
Tyler
is the
Perry.
same film.
Yeah, Tyler Perry's Good Deeds. Yes.
Mr. Deeds is exactly the same film, but with the white Tyler Perry, Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler is not the white Tyler Perry, because Adam Sandler does not try in anything. Tyler Perry sucks, but he tries.
I just knew they both made bad movies, but yes, I am now. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, Adam Sandler just films his family vacations and then tries to make money off of that. Tyler Perry sucks on every level, but he tries. He's kind of like this podcast. It tries. It's got heart. And that is a hell of a segue, because coming up next, we are going to now start talking about the fall TV series. Stay tuned, because we've got another member of the Pupcast coming on to join us.
It's Thanksgiving, I heard.
Tracy Spiridokis tries.
I don't know who that is.
She's a lover, baby, and a fighter. Should have seen it coming when it got a little brighter. With a name like Day in California, day was gonna come when I was gonna mourn ya. A little loaded, she was stealing another breath. I love my baby to death.
And we're back! And once again, I'm still joined by Jackson.
Hello.
Mike.
Hi.
Mike is sad.
I never know how to do these.
You just say hi! Alright, focus.
You've never before in your life ever practiced introducing yourself to anyone, ever. In all the years of your being on this earth. It's never happened.
Nah.
He gets by. Alright, and then also joining us is Stacy.
Hi.
Yeah, it's our TV episode. There's no way we can do a TV episode without Stacy or Mike. You two are the TV wing of this whole podcast. So excellent. I want to thank you guys for coming back on. Stacy, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was mostly good, but once again I got sick, so then it kind of sucked, but it was fine. It was being sick at a cabin in Tahoe, so we'll pretend that was okay. But it was good. You know, it's Thanksgiving, there was turkey. What else can I say?
You say it again. Is that like a ritual? Like you normally get sick around Thanksgiving?
No,
or?
I was sick like 2 weeks ago. It's like it's been this weird fall trend with me that I just keep getting sick. So, yeah, I guess I need some more vitamin C or something.
Oh, I get the exact same way. It's when the temperature just changes dramatically. Then again, we just got done talking about how in California the temperature does not change dramatically.
Maybe it was going to Tahoe where the temperature did change dramatically.
Oh, that would have to be it. I'd say that's probably it.
Yes. There we go. So, but it was great. It was actually, of all times to be sick on vacation, it was a very good one because, you know, it's all about sitting around and eating things. So that was not bad.
Exactly. Mike, we didn't really talk about Thanksgiving on the first segment. How was your Thanksgiving?
Good. Family came over, did some Black Friday shopping with Grandma.
Ooh. Like
no riots? You and Grandma didn't get in the middle of any riots?
No, we just go at 5 in the morning, go to Norm's, then just hit everything in the Tyler Mall. Just have to break a couple people's noses with my elbows because they'd be in my way.
Your grandma is hardcore, man.
But that's not like a Black Friday thing. That's just normal. That's just
yes, that is just normal me.
That's just how he and his grandmother roll. That's what they do.
Black Friday in the UK, of all places, which doesn't even have Thanksgiving, started on Monday the 19th. So what the hell is up with that?
So is it like Black Week? Then?
No, Amazon is like Black Friday deal starting Monday the 19th, as if one, Black Friday even exists in England, and two, that a Monday is a Friday, which it isn't. Last time I checked,
Amazon basically just looked at Walmart and said, "I raise you a week." That was nuts to me that they did that. But
yeah, which I actually feel like I heard made a big difference. And Black Friday was I feel like I heard that this was the first year that the cyber stuff really kind of affected.
Oh yeah, and it was immensely higher this year than it was last year, and I think that does have a lot to do with it. Hell, this is one of the first times in which I actually bought some stuff on Black Friday. Normally, I avoid that stuff. I just go to the stores, get whatever free swag they're handing out, and leave. But yeah. Anyway,
I try to get my grandma to use Amazon. She won't.
Just stop trying. She's never gonna learn.
You can't elbow anyone on Amazon, so, you know, it's not as good.
Yeah, exactly. It misses that contact.
Also,
feel.
don't have to get dressed, though.
That's true.
This is a theme with you on the show. It's all, how little clothes can I wear in order to be productive? It's
California, shorts and flip-flops weather, man. 5 in the morning to Black Friday, not shorts and flip-flops weather. More than anyway.
Flip-flops.
Well, my Thanksgiving was nuts, because last year, Michelle and I ordered from Whole Foods a full turkey dinner thing, and it came pre-cut, warmed, heated, ready to go, which is great, because we live in New York, and we have a kitchen that is smaller than the size of my body, and we just basically decided, we're not cooking, we're just eating out whenever we can. And this year, ordered from Whole Foods, the exact same meal I asked. Once again, it comes all ready. They go, yeah, sure. We get that thing on Thanksgiving. It is all either raw or cooked, but then frozen into a block of ice. So my Thanksgiving was basically me just running across the entire city trying to find a store open that would sell, like, cooking supplies, and me trying to figure out how to use my stove for the first time. But success. It worked. So
that's a good story. You got a good story out of it.
Thanksgiving miracle.
It was a Thanksgiving miracle that nobody got sick off of me trying to cook crab cakes out of a sheet made entirely of tin foil.
I still don't understand Thanksgiving. I mean, I understand why it exists, but I don't understand any of the ritual. Like, I've only heard like crazy stories from a million people from America, but no, I have no actual overall view of what the hell it is.
It's meant to come together and give thanks for.
Oh no, I know that part, but like, you know, like, everyone knows Christmas Day, wake up, tree, presents, go, 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 go. But I've got no idea what Thanksgiving actually is. I just hear
it's not anything.
Then why is it such an event? I don't understand.
It
You'll
means
never
something
understand.
different.
It's
We get to eat.
you
and
just
not
eat
work.
the same meal as everybody else in the country and be thankful for it.
Yeah, no, I can get behind that. That's pretty awesome.
You try to keep your head down and avoid any family squabbles, and that's basically what it is.
And fail horribly.
And fail horribly, yeah. Have I mentioned how thankful I am that my family can't come up to New York every year for Thanksgiving? They don't listen to this show either. Anyways.
Yeah, we may have covered that.
We covered that.
I set
Anyway.
my family up with Cards Against Humanity game. We have it scheduled for 2 weeks.
I had to play Apples to Apples, the child version, because there was,
that's
you
so
know, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and
Oh,
a
okay, that's
8-year-old or
much
something.
better.
Well, yes. No, not for any desire, but
No.
all we wanted to do all weekend was play the good one. But
Yeah.
My sister just sent me a text message a few days ago asking, have you ever played Apples to Apples? What is this game?
oh, it's
Whoa! What? Whoa! You've never played Apples to Apples?
I've never played Apples to Apples.
It's the best game in the world. You can't really explain it, but it's someone puts a card down and the card mate will have a word on it, like, I don't know, a description, the card you put down.
like beautiful.
Yeah, like, it was so beautiful. And then you'll have to pick from the cards in your hand, which are all nouns. So one of them might be the '93 Chicago Bulls. Another one might be Joey from Friends, and you have to like answer all these like random adjectives with your noun or pop culture reference or whatever it is. And it's pretty awesome. The only reason we're excited about it though is because there's a version of the game called Cards Against Humanity, which is just the worst shit in the world. Like, one of the questions is, what do white people like? It gets pretty good.
Oh, I've heard of this game. Okay, this game I've heard of. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably getting that for Christmas if she's asking me around this time of year. But anyways, let's get into our topic. We are here today to talk about, most TV shows are now hitting that mid-season fall finale thing, the not really a season finale, but kind of. So we figured what better time to come in, bring our 2 TV experts on, and talk about basically how fall television has been this season up to this point, up to the halfway point.
Not good.
Yeah, I was going to start out with the word. If we were playing Apples to Apples, I would say rough.
Yeah.
That would be my card. Or bad.
Unimaginative.
Yeah, it's a bad year for TV. And
I was going to say, I've never seen a year quite like this in which so many shows were getting canceled. I can't remember the last time in which everything except for 1 or 2 shows has just been struck down almost instantly.
you know what I think? Well, actually, I've actually found that I actually kind of think that the more interesting thing to me is actually what is not getting canceled.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things that are actually so awful that have not yet gotten canceled, because I think this is, for me, noticing the first year that the TV landscape and ratings have really changed. It's really... The shows that are surviving in previous seasons would have been canceled after 2 episodes. And there's... Even the hits are getting, like, 8 shares, maybe. I meant to look what Revolution's getting, and I can't remember now. But it's kind of the difference of what it used to take to survive and what is surviving is fairly surprising. Like, the Mob Doctor on Fox is getting a 3 share. Usually,
that thing is still on?
Yes.
Oh god,
that's
I
what
thought
I
it was
mean.
canceled finally.
What? What?
The Mob Doctor. Don't bother. Don't
No,
bother.
Go watch the trailer.
That title is too amazing. What is it? Is it a doctor who is in the mob, or is it a doctor who works for the mob, or is it an episode of Doctor Who where he and Tony Soprano team up to fight?
You were giving it way too much credit. It's a doctor who she. Oh my god! If I could, I have
She's
to think
forced
back
to
to
work
remember
with the
the
mob because they bailed
Yeah,
out
she's
her
forced-
brother. And...
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, her brother got involved with the mob, and now she has to do things like, work on people that are hurt because of the mob, and she killed someone. So now they've got It's not even that as interesting as the Mob Dog. The title is actually probably the best thing and most interesting thing about it. So
I just like to. I like the idea of someone going in to actually pitch a show called it's the Mob Doctor. It's a doctor who works with the mob. Check it. That gets me. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Kurt Suttner could have turned that into a Sons of Anarchy spin-off so easily.
I know. As I was saying that, I actually was like, it actually sounds like an episode of Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah, because it's such a ridiculous premise, but then all some of the best shows on TV are the most ridiculous premises treated incredibly seriously.
And that's the thing. I mean, it's like, actually from a premise, like, I don't actually shoot anything down for a premise because it's like, hey, you never know.
Oh, exactly.
Some of the like Battlestar Galactica, it's a bunch of people in space. You know, like, you wouldn't, from the pitch, you wouldn't actually think, okay, this will actually work.
Oftentimes, the most incredible TV shows are the ones that have either the most insane setups. I mean, look at like old TV, like Mork and Mindy. That is absolute madness. What the basic idea of that is, or it's got the most boring. Alf. Or it's got the most basic, dull premise. I mean, look at like Community. Okay, it's a bunch of people going to community college and scene, but either with that blandness, they're able to do something incredible, or with that incredible zaniness, they're able to capture a niche that no one knew they wanted in the first place.
Yeah, and that's what... Yeah, or and that's the thing. Or it just is awful, and it's like, oh, well, that was a terrible idea. But and more, I think it was terrible execution in a way. But, yeah, I just think it's a very interesting, and I don't know if it's... The cable model is really... I know I wrote an article about the state of television about a month or two ago.
Which was really good, by the way. I've been meaning to tell you that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it's some, like, finally The Walking Deads and, you know, Sons of Anarchy, they're kind of catching up, but then it's this mix of those are catching up, but then network television is actually doing so bad that there's not much of a difference, and then I really think... I'd be curious to see the numbers of how online streaming is actually really affecting it, because I'm wondering if that's actually becoming, you know, for years TV people, they like to tell themselves that it actually wasn't that big of a deal, and I wonder if it now really is starting to be a big deal.
I keep trying to find out the numbers on that too, because honestly, I think that if, you know, every time that I go on Hulu, the top rated shows, whenever you select like a category, the top rated shows are always the ones that do incredibly poorly in the ratings, and it drives me nuts that, you know, NBC will not look at that and go, you know, some of our smarter shows, if we just charge as much for advertising on the internet, we'd be easily able to, you know, keep them in business.
Yeah, and I think that Nielsen at some point, and I don't know if this one at some point is actually going to include it. I don't think there will be a number. They're going to encode at least this was happening a year or two ago. Whether it's still happening, I don't know. But they're going to encode a show with like a digital footprint, and then every time it was played, that would actually become the rating.
Yeah, and I probably should not be saying this, but one of my first jobs after moving to New York was I was working as a survey taker for Nielsen. Like, I was one of the people out there trying to find out information on who was watching what, how close of attention they were paying. And I will not say the exact name of, like, the company I was working for. I probably should not have said it was even working as a branch of Nielsen. But I will just go out and flat out say this. They do not know what they're doing. They are scrounging for ideas on how to gather this information. They have no idea how to figure this out.
Ads in general on the internet suck, though. So they don't care, because the admin are what matter, and internet ads suck. Like, the only reason I enjoy Facebook is because the ads not totally banal and terrible to my likes.
Well, anyone who's internet savvy enough to be watching stuff on the internet often have ad blockers.
Yeah.
Anyone who isn't watching them there anyway.
I actually don't use ad blocker. It just feels kind of mean.
I put ad blocker. I only use ad blocker until I learn that I can trust a site, because I get viruses on certain sites, even good sites that I think I shouldn't get them from. But, like, Hulu, but, like, if it's a site that's safe and I like them, I take ad blocker off, which everybody should do. You should, that's kind of a free market idea. Hey, I support what I like.
Yeah, and people actually, it is a strange model, because we are all, and I do it too, but we fast forward through commercials and we don't want to watch them on Hulu, but we also have to, that is the business model. It's like,
Yeah.
if we don't want to do it, then we've got to be okay with television going down in quality and television going away, because it is an ad-based business, and it takes a lot of money to make a TV show. And if it's funny, I mean, the DVR changed television, but it also
Destroyed it.
ultimately,
Yeah.
destroyed it, because they just... And I don't know that they are ever going to... It's like, I don't know that they can ever figure out another revenue model.
This honestly, when you look back at early television, when they would have like the Flintstones come on, but before the episode actually started, they would have Fred Flintstone sitting there with a pack of Luckies going, "Hi there, kids. I enjoy a good smoke, and my cigarette of choice is this." And there would be so many shows like that would do those advertisements as part of the show itself, but not like product placement. Like, it would be like the actors doing a commercial at the very beginning of the show. And honestly, I've been wondering, why can't they really go back and do that? Because, yeah, people would stop fast-forwarding at that moment. They would stop at that moment to watch that. And, I mean, honestly, if you had Troy and Abed love McDonald's come on, wouldn't you sit and watch
But then
that?
everyone would go fucking mental, because people like to imagine there's a big separation between creativity and what they're watching and the actual advertising. No one likes to want those two to mix, even though they have to for stuff to get made. Everyone doesn't want ads in their show. People get way more angry about that.
Well, no, you're saying ads in your
because...
show as in, like, in the middle of the show they stop. But, I remember, like, even back in the 80s, like, Cheers, like, 80s and 90s, like, Cheers, before the show would start, they would have, Tony Danza say, "Cheers this week is brought to you by," and they would say, the product.
TV just needs to become live again, because live sporting content is the most worthy stuff on TV.
Yeah.
What I think they should do about TV prices is I'm amazed they haven't done this. Is that why they don't just offer on their whatever like service they are on some kind of subscription service an ability to worldwide stream live from the internet, because that's the a piracy market they have to compete with, which pretty much everyone I know does that, and that's like a load of people who are in their 20s or late teenagers years and in another country.
Yeah, piracy. Piracy is a very important thing that we should bring up, because piracy, it's wrong because you're taking money away from them, but what you don't realize is that if the studio specifically says, "No, you can't have this unless you watch TV," then I can't really feel that bad for the pirates, because then you're just kind of being idiots for not doing that.
In the UK, there is no other... I can't watch half the TV show. I'm quite a few weeks behind on Homeland.
Well, I'll say, even this, preparing for the podcast, I was like, all right, I only watched the pilot of Revolution. Like, I'll go back and I'll watch it.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing. Don't be sorry, because the crazy thing to me, I went to go on Hulu, and they only have, the last 5 episodes. And so, honestly, had I been a person that would, it's halfway through, the season just ended, I could have been another fan that would have gone and started watching it, and then started watching it when it came back live, and because it only had the last 5 episodes, I was like, well, I'm not going to start, Revolution is not a show I can start watching the last 5 episodes, so I didn't.
Yeah.
And I just started watching Castle instead.
But you get her point. Yeah, it's one of those things in which the more that the television networks try to limit it, they think that by limiting it, they're going, oh, now people have to tune in at that time on that day. And what they don't realize is we live in an age of technology in which, you know what, hey, first off, there's so many shows out there and so many other things to do. If you don't give me a way to watch your show, there's other shows I can watch, or there's other ways to watch the show in which you don't get the money.
Yeah,
and the problem is they have the perfect anti-piracy measure in that, say they broadcast worldwide live in for a fee rather than saying people do that for illegally, and took some kind of money, some profit from that, and then they use the fact that everyone's just watching on Twitter and they make it a big zeitgeist thing, then people are going to watch live. They're not going to want to catch up later. They will actually watch it on the day when there is no other alternative and you can only get it from them.
Yeah.
But they're not doing anything. It's ridiculous.
No, but I think they're scared in a way too of if you start, because like I said, the problem is they have to make massive amounts of money. Like, you can't charge more than, say, $10 a month for even maybe a show of, each person. but I mean, with an advertisement, what do they get? $1 million, 30 seconds or something? It's just, I think they're very much struggling to find the business model that will actually make them money through the internet and not kind of take everything away. Because it's, if you provide it on the internet, then nobody's going to watch on cable anymore, which, I mean, it's a big, like, roundabout. If nobody watches on cable, then they don't make any money. So I'm not a total network apologist, even though I did work there. You know, it's like, I think just from working there, I think that they haven't caught up with the times, and and even, you know, the couple years ago that I was still there, the conversations were not as immediate as they should have been, kind of like, this is coming and we need to figure this out. I think they need to figure out a balance, but it's very easy, you know, and as I said, that I was frustrated they didn't show it on Hulu, but I'm sure they have whatever their reason is. But I really think they need to kind of figure out a balance, because, as you are right, people are stealing, and it's going to become the music industry if they don't find a way to make it available to people. It will just go that way completely, and it's
Warner
Brothers.
I was going to say, Warner Brothers is kind of trying to do the right thing with the Ultraviolet service. It's just the problem that Ultraviolet is terrible.
Ultraviolet it's garbage.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
At least
I don't know what is. I don't know what that
is.
is.
They should just buy Netflix, honestly, because
what is the Ultraviolet service?
They're trying, but yeah. Okay, TV.
Which, yeah. So, that was TV. Yeah, we were not off topic there. That was a great
We're still on topic. Because what I did, like, I feel kind of, one, I feel dirty because it's too much money, but another way I feel kind of good is that most shows take ages to come out here, but if you buy on iTunes, say, like, they do this for the season 5 of Castle in the UK, you buy on iTunes, it's £35, which is about $43 or whatever it is, and then you get the season in HD, no advertisements, coming out at the same time as America, and you download it straight to your computer legally. And I can, like, actual legally, not illegally. And I think, and that's not the same with all shows, and I think that's ridiculous that there isn't a way just to click, I want a button to get me all the shows now, and maybe I'll only buy 2 shows because those are the ones I watch and I don't want to pay that much money, but that's at least me paying for stuff that I really want to see, which they're just not doing.
I think that's a great idea, and I think, like, I have found I've probably become one of the people that they're scared of, that I have cable now, but it's in the living room where I don't really watch it, and so I actually will pay for shows. Like, I will buy them on iTunes, and I kind of, like, eventually I will completely get rid of cable and and I suggest this to people all the time. I'm like, get Hulu, get Netflix, and then if you were going to say pay for a season of The Walking Dead, then that's $40 versus the $90 that you pay in cable every month. You know, it's like, I will actually pay, and, like, I'm completely willing to pay for shows, but not in a totally, like, over the top way. If they make it available, then I have no problem paying for it. But I'm not going to pay $40 for a show on top of $90 for cable, and, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
and to watch on my iPad.
It should be like the music industry with iTunes, because as soon as iTunes came around and said, hey, if you really want that song, it's only 99 cents. That's it. It's just 99 cents. Piracy did drop fairly heavily with music because people will pay for the stuff they like if you just give them a way to reasonably do that.
You just
go, Jax.
You go. I have nothing to say. I did, but no, I'm good.
Everyone should go read, there's this big Verge article on their War on TV thing they did a couple weeks ago, and there's a response of, like, a thread on, like, how do you actually watch TV, and I made up my own little thread on Screened about it. But reading through these was like, nah, man, I do use a Boxy Box to go and access my parents' HBO Go account, like, just this insane setups to get all the TV they want. And yeah, most of it's illegal, but there's a fair amount of it that is legal. But the amount of stuff they do just to not pay for cable is too much work for me. Like, I'm the tech guy in my family, and I don't want to do it, even though it's cool. But I don't.
I'm just reminded of that episode of Seinfeld where he gets a cable box installed, a fake cable box. That was an amazing episode. That was good TV.
That, you know, I was talking about about Seinfeld yesterday because it was on. We have a TV in our kitchen, and someone was watching it over lunch. And
good choice.
Yeah, and I was like, it's crazy. Like, and I thought about it when I did the Thanksgiving episodes of Friends too. I was like, it's really sad that we have no shows like that. No, it's been a while
Yeah.
since. There's just shows you can watch over and over again, and you've seen every episode, you know everything that's happening, but you can watch it over and over again.
Yeah, with
Well,
Seinfeld
that
and The
was 2.5
Simpsons, there was a
million.
period of time in which, when I moved into my first apartment, I didn't have cable for a month, but I still had a DVD player and a TV, so I just did nothing but watch Simpsons seasons 3 through 9, and then the entire run of Seinfeld back to back, and then as soon as I got to the end, I started right over at the beginning. And you're right, there's no real show like that these days that I can do that with.
I actually
Yeah.
do that with 2.5 Men because that's what my grandma watches when we eat dinner, and I've seen
I'm sorry.
every episode of 2.5 Men probably.
2.5 times.
If averages out probably like that, but she likes it.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
that's
that
the show
actually
we have. We
probably
have
is
2.5
the
Men instead of
closest show.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Your
Feel
grandmother
bad,
loves
America.
2.5 Men and beating people up at the mall. Your grandma is
Can we have your
hardcore, man.
grandma on the podcast? I want her to be on.
But yeah, that's a good place to stop. Let's get into like actually talking about the shows themselves. Seeing as how we're talking about the sad state of some of these shows, were there any shows that have been canceled? Let's just rip that Band-Aid right off. Were there any shows that have already been canceled that you thought were notable? Either
Last
because of-
Resort.
Last resort.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say that's the biggest one, I'd say.
Yeah,
Rest in peace,
I
Sean
was
Ryan.
really
even
surprised.
Kevin even sent me a note, and he says that had a terrific premise and had a great lead. So I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't even know of this show.
Yeah,
Which I think is another problem happening these days, but I won't digress on that one yet.
Right.
But yeah, Last Resort, it was one that I watched the pilot, and I liked it. I actually enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to. And Mike, I think you watched it, so you know more about this. It felt to me like a show that I didn't understand how they were going to sustain it, where it was going to go, and because of that, I just kind of tuned out.
yeah. This show, and I've really done a lot of thinking on this because I have too much free time, really. But I hate the 22-episode season for hour-long dramas. 15 episodes. Like, if this show were a 15-episode season, I think it'd be a lot better. But
I feel like they're having to stretch themselves a little too
yeah,
far. 22?
like 22 hours roughly of stuff to write is too much for a show about a nuclear standoff in the end. Like, if it were a 15-episode seasons, they could do something, maybe.
Right.
Right.
But, like, 22 episodes is too long, and the show, it actually... It's okay. I love Andre Braugher a bit too much, so that's coloring my opinion.
That's okay, and you know what? And I think he was one of the biggest pulls of it. I really think that was an amazing casting choice, and I think that it really kind of it sustained it more than it possibly would have. I don't know that we'd even be talking about it if it wasn't for Andre, for him being in the show.
Yeah, like him, that, and Sean Ryan being attached to it was the only reason I was
Right.
interested in it. And it's a decent show. It could make for a decent 13 episodes if you're bored and you find it on like YouTube and stuff. It's okay. Scott Speedman actually can act. But then again,
Yeah.
we'd compare him to like Tracy Spiridokis, which is not fair. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Last Resort, rest in peace.
Sank.
Rest in peace. Any other shows that either it was good, a missed opportunity, or like it was just so bad that you can't believe it got on the air when it came to these canceled shows?
Oh, Made in Jersey.
Oh yeah.
I think that was.
Wow.
I think that was our.
That-
Was that this year's Air One and Done, or maybe Two and Done?
Yeah, it was like
Maybe
two and
one or
done.
two and
It
done.
was
Yeah.
like that and The
Yeah.
Mob Doctor were my bets for first to go.
Yeah, and Made in Jersey. It was. First of all, I could not get over how they did not address the fact that it pretty much halfway was My Cousin Vinny. Like, it was like she acted like her, but
Hold on,
not,
I'm vaguely
but-
interested in this show now. What? It's like My Cousin Vinny?
It was like a Jersey. What was it? It was like
She's got
was
Jersey
just like a
smell.
normal Jersey girl.
I have
It
the
was like
log
Legally
line right
Blonde
here.
and-
Is a
Legal-
streetwise attorney born and raised in New Jersey joins a posh New York City law firm where she must defend her clients while surviving her colleagues' skepticism and her Italian-American family's constant interruptions.
This
I'm
was
so
CBS,
whacked.
wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm pretty
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Sounds wacky.
Yes. And I also
Oh,
couldn't
man.
get over the fact, and I know I shouldn't do this, but the lead girl, who I actually really like as an actress, and I was like one of the 2 people that watched Human Target when she was on. But she is actually in the other one. I love it. I couldn't get over the fact that her British accent all of a sudden turned into a Jersey accent, and she was going in and out of it the entire time, and then it was kind of Legally Blonde, where she was like the dumb girl that would, she wasn't dumb, I guess, but she was like the street smart girl that would stumble upon the answer of how to fix the big law problem, and it was just, it was not good.
What was Reba's new show this year?
Oh, wow, that's another one I forgot about.
No, it's not Last Man Standing. It's on Malibu Country. And I actually think it's sustaining a little bit. I should pull up the... it's on Friday nights. And,
oh, wow. If anything can sustain on Friday night, that's impressive.
Yeah. I don't know that it's actually... I think it's not getting awful numbers, would be a better way to put it.
It's above the water, yeah.
Yes. It's treading water, shall we say.
The only show that I watched that has already been canceled was Animal Practice. And by watched, I mean I saw 1 episode. And I watched it solely because it had the brother from Weeds, who he is the only thing on that show that always remained good. And it also had Tyler Labine, who I'm a huge fan of. But Tyler Labine is the kiss of death for any TV show. Everything he's on will be canceled, like, literally as soon as possible.
You forgot Annie's
he really
boobs.
is. It's kind of
sad.
sad.
Yes, and Annie's boobs was on the show. The monkey from Community was on there.
I know, I was going to say, that I was like, and the monkey. Actually, the only reason I watched was the monkey. I will say the monkey pulled me in.
Oh, yeah. You tell me that there's a monkey in anything, and I'll watch it. But yeah, it's... it was one of those, like, I had no idea who thought was a good idea.
Yeah. It's...
Jimmy Fallon was behind that?
Yep.
Yeah, he
That does not
produced it.
surprise me now that I stop to think about it. That sounds exactly like what Jimmy Fallon would think would be hilarious. If Tyler Labine kept breaking character to laugh and smile at his own jokes, then that would be Jimmy Fallon's greatest dream.
Well, I actually had an interesting experience with it because I watched the pilot, and I didn't realize they actually, Tyler Labine and the main girl, Joanna Garcia, were actually recast from different actors. So I initially watched the pilot, and then I turned on the series like 3 episodes into it, and was like, oh, whoa, I just missed that actually Tyler Labine was in it, and I turned on, I was like, oh, maybe this actually will give the show some hope, like, because the first 2 people, they were just boring.
Did you
like,
recognize
it was
them?
Like,
were they like playing
no,
still the
I
same
didn't.
kind of characters? Because I've always gotten the sense watching Tyler Labine that he just basically improvs almost every line he has in anything he does. Or whoever's writing it writes it specifically for him. That's how I always kind of get a feel for him. So was it still kind of the same character, or...
It was a similar character. What I can imagine, I think that they were like, it wasn't funny enough. So it was a similar character, but it just didn't have that funny sparkle. So I think they were probably like, bring in a guy who is very funny like he is, that just gets the comedy, and hoping to kind of elevate it a little bit. And I just didn't do it enough.
Well, is there any show out there right now that has not been canceled, and this doesn't have to be any of the new shows, but it's not been canceled, but you cannot imagine why it's still on?
Revolution.
I knew you were going to say that. I was hoping someone would say Two Broke Girls, but I knew you were going to say Revolution.
I don't watch
Two Broke
I don't
Girls.
watch any comedies, honestly. Community has spoiled me. So I can't take, like, my parents love Big Bang Theory. I hate that show. And they don't understand why I hate it either, yet I explain it to them. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, Revolution. I love the world. I love the premise. John fucking Esposito, Billy Burke, even the dude from The Cape is kind of interesting. Everyone
There's
else,
a sentence that's
I
never
don't
been said.
care.
I know.
Like, the execution on that show just is so terrible. Just so terrible. Yet did anyone see this week's episode?
I've never seen a single episode.
Okay, well, there's this really kind of good standoff between Billy Burke, who's kind of like he's the Han Solo of the group, and Monroe, who's the evil villain, who's like his brother, and they have this like
the evil villain.
Yeah, and like there's this. I know that was redundant, but like they have this. they use flashbacks honestly really well, and they kind of like explain and show how these two guys came together, and then they fight with two swords, which is awesome. And then just everything else in that show, in that episode, was just so poorly done.
Kevin. Like
how
I said, Kevin
how they
sent
cut.
me. Yeah, like I said, Kevin sent me a couple of his thoughts on TV since he couldn't be here, and he did say that Revolution is the biggest missed opportunity of the season because of of that world that they do set up. And I do have to say, like, I've read some stuff about it, and I've seen a lot of different post-apocalyptic, all technology has failed kind of worlds. I've never seen one where there's a guy actually collecting all the broken down machines for the day when the electricity comes back on, so he'll be king of the world. I actually think that's pretty interesting. There is like so I can at least say there is like one thing in there where I look at it and go, you know what, you thought of something creative with this.
Yeah, like I forget if it was Abrams or Eric Kripke who's like, no, I came up with this great idea for show, and you know what, it is a great idea for the show. The show itself is not good.
Yeah, that's it. And when I first heard about it and was kind of looking at the shows that were coming out, I was actually very excited about it and was like, wow, this is a very, if they can sustain it, like it's been done, but not like a huge TV show of week to week of how do they sustain life, how do they do it, and what, and I actually have, first of all, it's funny, I actually have a big problem with, but it's NBC. I was going to say I have a big problem with ABC shows, thinking it was an ABC show, but it's not, so never mind.
It does kind of have that feel, though, you're right.
It feels like an ABC show to me, and besides Giancarlo Esposito, who I love, of course, I actually think the cast of it is incredible. It feels like a B-movie cast to me or something like that. Even Billy Burke, who, it feels... They're all too pretty. I think that's my problem. Like, all the kids and, like, everybody
ugly
there
problem
is
with Charlie
just
a
too
bit,
pretty.
But Charlie, the chick who plays Charlie, is just a bad actor. She has one face.
That could be too.
Like, Kevin sent me a gif of her, like, looking through this window. I was like, yep, that's her acting.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. And Billy Burke's not a great actor. Like, he's not the best actor in the world. And so I think that was my biggest problem. And for me, it's like, if I don't connect with them in the first episode, I'm out. And it's like, I can't get into it. I can't get into the characters. And I think they missed big on that, because I think it could have been huge. It really could have been a big thing, but I don't think enough people have been...
That's the problem.
Wait, what? Everything I've heard is that people don't like it. Is it actually getting loads of viewers?
Yeah, that's the problem. It is getting really good ratings for network TVs during the fall right now.
I've got a weird question.
Right now. I was going to say that's
Mike,
the thing. Right now, though.
Mike, you hate the show, and yet you watch it every week. Stacey, you said it seems like a cheesy B movie. How many people do you think are watching this show just for camp reasons?
That's a non-question. That is people who will go on the internet and talk about TV. I think when you get into this large numbers, that's a very minuscule minority.
One of the things that I was saying, though, too, is I think one of the problems, like, yes, it's getting large numbers for TV right now, but it could have been like a Lost that, like, literally brought TV back. Every
network wants Lost.
Yeah,
that's the problem. The Lost of the year, and
they need to stop doing that. That's what. If you want to talk about what's killing TV, it's that. It's trying to go for the crazy big flashback heavy Lost style. J.J. Abrams producing bloody everything.
Well, I think what's killing a lot of TV is sort of the same thing with that. It's that so many people are going, this is going to be this season's blank. But when you think about Lost. What was Lost that season's blank? It wasn't. Well, it was its totally own thing.
It was completely new, and it is a problem. It's a tough mix, because there's so many people, they try new things, it doesn't work. You try, and I've said it on things before. I do think it is a weird magic potion that all comes together and makes the show amazing. And I think Lost was one of those things in and of its time. And I actually don't know that there. As we were saying when we were talking about the ratings and things like that, I'm very curious if there is a network show that, again, will come along and kind of bust the numbers out like that. And I don't know if they will. I don't know that anything You know what? No, I take that back. There's a possibility of it, but I don't know if like the huge like 18 share show is kind of around anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think Lost. I mean, I really don't like Lost, but that's neither here nor there.
I
Lost
actually
was
don't
that moment. I think
either,
that was the.
Yeah, that's what
the-
it was.
yeah.
It was the moment, and it actually did change TV for a while because TV kind of was on a bit of the. It was going through the stage that it is a little bit right now. Like it was going through a decline, and nothing was getting huge ratings, and then. You know, it was actually Lost, which led into Grey's Anatomy, which led into Desperate Housewives, and it brought ABC back. So, could something hit like that? Absolutely. Like, you know, I don't think there's entertainment can. You know, it's like a movie; anything can come from anywhere. But
Right.
it's
When the next big hit happens, you're not like going to see it coming because that's
Yeah.
what-
You never
Exactly.
do. Yeah.
that's the
we've
thing.
been talking about these failed shows for a while now, so we're getting on to let's move on to some of the more positive things so we don't spend all day on this. I was going to ask you guys about Arrow, but let's skip right over that. What?
People
I
like Arrow.
I like Arrow. They handle the villains poorly, but hey, I got to see a live action version of the Royal Flush Gang. That's kind of cool.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, let's move on to some of the more positive things, I guess. We'll go slowly into that by starting with comedies. Has there been any comedy that you guys have been enjoying this fall season?
I liked to go on for 30 seconds when they did March Sadness Tournament.
That
was
that, and I always enjoy the I need a hug, huge stick to hit you with joke. But that was really the only gag I enjoyed on that show. Which Matthew Perry can do great things as long as he stops taking such a hand in what he does. Because he does not get the type of humor he's supposed to be doing, but he thinks he does.
And I think Matthew Perry's actually a little bit better in an ensemble that isn't solely focused upon him.
That's all. Yeah, that's also a
he
good
was
point, yeah.
he was Chandler. He was the perfect.
He's
like,
a
that's his
foil.
role.
And he was
He's
the best thing
Yeah.
about, and he was the best thing about Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip too. I'll throw that out.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say about Friends. I would have said he's the only good thing about Friends, except Joey sometimes. But
He was the only regularly good thing about Friends. Like he's the only thing that was consistent. Chandler was always good.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about Matthew Perry is that when I watch like Friends sometimes it can be really terrible, but I can always know Chandler is going to say something sarky and something funny, and that's what Matthew Perry can do well. He can hit that note.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember that last show he did, the Mr. Sunshine, in which he was like, no, I'll be the snarky guy throughout the office, and he really wasn't. They just made everybody so one-dimensional on that show, aside from him, that it made it totally unbelievable, and it made him seem like the jackass by contrast when he wasn't a jackass at all. But yeah, he needs to stop taking such a hand in his own creations. Any other comedies you guys have been enjoying?
When is October 19th coming?
I know. February 14th, October. Wait, is it 14th?
February, no, because that's Valentine's Day.
I know, that's what I remember somebody made a comment about it being around. I think February 19th. Anyway, sometime in February is October 19th, and that is when Community will return.
That's when I'll watch a comedy.
There was a comic strip out there
love...
that I think that said that the reason the hurricane hit New York is they were trying to get 30. Is that God wanted 30 Rock canceled so Community could come back. Which I like that theory.
Which I was going to say, I actually like 30 Rock. The NBC comedies I still like. They're probably some of the only ones I watch regularly. I love Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I still watch 30 Rock. I actually still like The Office sometimes. It's crazy to say, but it's not that good anymore, but I think it's like I have that soft spot for it, so I keep watching it, and I'll watch it till the end.
I was that way.
And then,
so,
that's what like Louis and It's Always Sunny, of course. Like it's like kind of like feels like the old standbys of comedy.
And once again, Louis doing something very different. It was not trying to be anything else, and they just gave it to him and said, "Hey, do your own thing." And I think more networks need to learn from that. Well, not maybe networks, but cable channels need to learn from that. And I've really been enjoying Parks and Rec, except it's kind of hitting me that it's getting to that point where the writers don't really know where else to take it. I mean, like, story-wise, they know where else to take it, but, like, comedy-wise, they're like, the characters are now starting to just be caricatures of themselves.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Season, anyway?
No, but it's got a half season, which is not a good sign, but then again, every comedy on NBC has a half season. which is not a good sign for NBC.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I
I
can't
have a
imagine. I
comment,
don't think they'll be able to get rid of it. Yeah.
Rules
but-
of engagement. The ultimate, like, switch hitter, I don't know if that's the correct reference, but, like, the ultimate just something got canceled, put in Rules of Engagement on CBS. That show is not funny, but it is not offensive. So it's perfect. It's the epitome of CBS.
I haven't watched it for years in that I didn't know where or when it's on, but
I
I'll
just
check it out again.
No, you shouldn't check it out because it's not.
No, but I'm
good,
curious. I always
just
no, but I
find
always
it
want to
on
know
every
that.
now and
yeah.
again. It's always on.
Wait, hold on. I had to go and check on something real quick. What show's still on? What show?
Rules
Rules of Engagement.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's got hope. It's one of those shows that, there have been so many bad comedies out there that were terrible in their first and second seasons, and then got incredibly good in the third. And Rules of Engagement strikes me as that kind of a show where it's like meh, but it could be good if they waited long enough. But I don't know. Hold on. I'm thinking of Up All Night. Rules of Engagement.
Yeah, I
Oh
was
god,
gonna
that
say,
show's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of a totally different show. Yeah, Rules of Engagement, that's the thing with David Spade. Oh, God, I hate that show.
Yes.
And also, I said the exact same thing about that in its first and second seasons. I was like, give it time, I think it can find its pace. And it didn't. So sometimes I'm just talking out my ass. I don't know. So...
I have no expectations for that show, so I don't care. It pacifies me. Like
that's
all
fair
CBS
enough.
content.
Patrick Warburton has a very soothing tone. Yes.
It's the voice of Buzz Lightyear to me.
I'll throw out a comedy from cable that I've been enjoying. I've been enjoying the past year, and it just came back for its fall season, start of season 2. Key and Peele. I've been really enjoying.
I do like Key and Peele. My one problem with Key and Peele, I don't love the format of Key and Peele.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wish it was just sketches. Like, I don't really love their whole shtick in between. But I think it's one of the best sketch shows to actually come around.
Yeah, and it just got renewed
years.
for season 3, which I'm very glad of. And I find the two guys themselves charming, so I wish that they would come on at the beginning of the show and do a little thing with the audience. And then it was just nothing but sketches. I like, kind of like a Saturday Night Live format, I guess, almost. But yeah, I totally see what you're saying. But yeah, the Obama Luther angry translator, that still gets me to this day. So yeah,
my favorite is the when they're hiding from their wives and they're
that was so. That was like in their first episode, and that skit made me go, "This show is something. This is something to watch."
Yeah, it's great, and it's and it's funny because oftentimes I actually don't even watch it on air. I end up watching it from like the internet clips that go around.
Oh yeah, once again, that is a great way. That's why sketch comedy is one of the things that can survive in. We were talking about how the internet is changing and everything. It can survive very well in the age of the internet. Because, look at Saturday Night Live. After Jeremy Renner came on and did that Avengers skit, that blew up all over Hulu, all over the entire internet. Yeah, because those little tiny snippets that you can watch on your coffee break, people love it. It works very well with the internet.
Yeah, and but Key and Peele, to anybody, if you have not checked any of them out yet, do, because it is a very funny sketch show.
Very. Let's see. All right, let's move into the dramas now, which means we're going to have... yes?
This is the bridge one, because I don't know where to put this. I don't think anyone's watching it, because I brought it up all the time, but Castle's pretty great. You should all watch Castle.
I actually, the other night, I did, because I hadn't completely watched a ton of Castle. And so when Revolution didn't come on, I was like, we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to watch Castle. And I liked it so much more than I actually expected.
Which episode was it?
I watched the first two of... No. I thought I was watching the first one. I watched episodes 2 and 3 of this season.
That's actually better, because with Castle, what they tend to do is they have their crazy dramatic episodes a lot of the time, and there's like a really weird shift of tone. It's the biggest problem with Castle is that they can't balance their humour and their drama. It's either this is a dramatic episode or this is a hilarious episode.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. these were a little more like quirky episodes.
Oh, yeah.
And fun, because it was funny because I didn't realize it. I was watching on Hulu and the internet kind of messed up. So it started with the last time on, and it seemed very serious. And then all of a sudden I was very confused. So then
episode 2 really bad. I did not like that because the beginning of Castle this season just would look like it was going to get really bad and be like this hilarious, wacky comedy of trying to keep this office romance hidden. And thankfully, they dealt with that in about 3 weeks. And I was like, thank Christ, these writers have some brains for this dumb police procedural, which I like.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't usually like procedurals. Like, I'm not a huge fan of procedurals, and I really liked it.
Cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, like it's like one I'm excited to watch some more.
All right.
And the other procedural, I haven't seen any of this season because it's not come to the UK properly yet. But The Mentalist that is generally of a really high quality. Season 3 had one of the best scenes of television I've seen at the end of season 3. It was so good. And that really does get the like mixing of humor and drama and stuff. And that is on CBS, so that's how I kind of discovered American networks when I was getting into like understanding what American networks meant. And coming into people's description of CBS being safe from The Mentalist was kind of crazy because that show's not very safe. Like there's a bit where it looks like the main character is going to start murdering people for fun. But that's more me projecting what I want to happen onto
You
it.
think Spider-Man is going to start murdering people in his next movie? You
I was like, do you just think
very
everybody's
concerned
gonna start
about you,
murdering
man.
people?
No, but actually in The Mentalist there is some genuine, like, really nasty overtones of that. That isn't me projecting what I want to happen there. It never does, but there's some dark stuff in there that works really well.
I have a funny Mentalist story.
all right?
Actually.
All right.
Okay, so that started around the same time the NBC show Life was on with Damian Lewis of Homeland fame and Band of Brothers, and it got canceled because basically the two shows kind of the same, but not really, and I've not really ever forgiven The Mentalist for canceling Life. In my mind.
Is that what they did?
Yeah, even though they're on different networks, one of them just got way more better ratings and all that. And I was just like, you're the reason why Damian Lewis is off TV now. But then Homeland came on, so I'm good.
Yeah, which that's a good point to move into the dramas. Homeland, I just got Showtime, so I've not been able to check it out yet. But how is Homeland this season?
Amazing.
Okay.
You go first, and then I'm going to go second.
I'm only one episode in. I'm not, because I'm going to take my headphones out for like 2 seconds. I'm only one episode in.
Wait, you haven't seen Q&A yet. Everyone, like Stacey, you've seen Q&A, right?
I've seen it all.
Okay, good.
You talk about.
Okay.
I have overarching problems with the show that have nothing to do with it. I think it's very good. Yet I have some huge major problems with it.
I agree with you.
Well,
I haven't seen season 2, but the way season 1 ended, I thought was one of the worst possible endings to a season ever.
That's what I heard a lot of people saying.
It's so bad.
Okay, I'm just going to go into it. Fine, sorry. This is going to be a rant.
I actually love
we're used to that.
Go.
Yeah, this will be great.
I know. First of all, I actually think Claire Danes is highly overrated, and I think her eyes bug out so much.
What about
when she's
the chin tuck, though? It's all about the chin.
Okay, sorry, the eyes and the chin tuck, and she screams when she gets upset, and it's like she.
It's like a bad caricature of what you imagine an actual mentally ill person to be. It's not. It doesn't feel honest.
It's not. And like, when she cries, it is not. On it. It is not, like, real, and I don't know, I think they wrote the character in a fairly real manner, like, I actually, I take that back. Some of it, I think, was a little bit over the top, and it was just kind of like, okay. But
now that she's gone crazy, she's definitely going to get the case right. Ooh, yeah.
I have this.
Yeah, it's kind of like, now she can all put it together because that's how it works. And when she was kind of like hiding it by taking her pills and being like, ooh, I need to, I can't reveal this. And it just, that all felt very frustrating to me. But more than anything, the way her eyes bug out make me crazy. And it's like she acts with her eyes, which you're supposed to do, but not with the actual movement of your eyelids.
Are we talking like Amanda Seyfried levels of bug out, or is it like beyond that?
I think beyond that.
Damn.
I would say probably beyond.
Well, the character calls for some crazy things, but she does it in a very over-the-top way.
When Claire Danes goes crazy, it is really over the top and annoying. But like her and Damian Lewis, I love that pairing. Like the
Yeah, and that's the thing,
I just that's my favorite episode of any television show this season, basically.
Don't get me wrong, I really like it.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I'm
I
still
get that.
watching it.
Like,
My other
bad.
biggest
not
problem
bad.
is
I said that wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck.
My other biggest problem that they did, and they did this at the end of season 1, and it's my biggest problem with season 2, and you guys, I'm sure know by now, my love of 24. But my biggest problem with it was when they took Jack Bauer out of not working with CTU. And already, I hope this doesn't spoil too much, sorry, anybody if it does. Sorry, Aaron, if it does. They took her kind of away from working at the CIA.
I think we have to spoil the event that happens at the end of season 1, which is quite possibly the most. I mean, not everyone saw it this way, but I thought it was one of the most audience-insulting, lazy, terrible twists to stretch something out I've ever seen.
I'm putting full-blown spoilers at the top of this, so you guys don't have to worry about it. Yeah, go ahead, talk
Okay.
free.
We'll put full-blown.
Her fucking memory as she solves the case.
See, like
Wait, what'd you say? Wait, say it again, Jackson. I didn't hear what you said.
They wipe her memory as she solves the case.
Oh,
what
yes.
the fuck?
Yes.
here.
And which, by the way, that kind of was never really dealt with again. Like, it was a little bit, but not really. Like, that was a huge moment that was very much kind of just left.
Wait, because I'm only up to episode 1 of season 2. Did they not get back
right,
to that?
sorry. I mean, a little
She
bit.
gets back in because they have to bring her back in somehow. But don't worry.
Yeah,
It get,
like she
they
gets.
burn
But
through
so
a
that's
lot.
what I was saying too. One of my biggest problems is when the whole thing is about how she is the whole basis of the premise of the show is that she's this incredible CIA agent, and by season 2, like not even season 5 where they did it with 24, she is no longer officially part of the CIA, and half of it is like
That's
figuring
why I
out
love
how
the show
she
so
works
much. They're
with
just
it.
burning through so much stuff.
Yeah. But that's it. It's just like, but she's a CIA agent. How is she not part of? And like, how is she still working with the CIA as closely as she is? Every episode, she's involved with the CIA. She's not a fucking CIA agent.
Also, she was kind of in season 1. She was kind of a terrible CIA agent. All the good things Saul did, she just went crazy a lot, and then happened to like get that one bit of information that solved the case. There was a lot of tell and not show. I don't feel she's demonstrated that she's really this legendary. Saul, however, I can believe you can call on that guy to do anything.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. I
Tintin
think
is
some of the
awesome.
people around,
He's amazing.
He's amazing. Like, he's probably one of the things that has really kept me more invested. I do like Damian Lewis's character, although the Saturday Night Live skit about, if you haven't watched it yet, it's so incredible. How he just whispers the entire time. But I do like it. Like I said, I'm still watching it. I like it, but I just have major problems with it. Like, I could stop watching it tomorrow and I'd be okay. Like, if I kind of forgot to watch it, if I lost Showtime, which I think I am at some point soon, I would probably just let it go.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I'm only on episode 1, and that I haven't felt any drive to really, catch. If they should have killed Brody at the end of season 1, as my feeling. I know that's a big argument about that, but
He should have died, but they're definitely going to kill him at the end of season 2. Like, he's got to be.
I don't know if they are, though, because I don't think I think they're going to keep him on because he's the show. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you can make the Claire Danes show. I don't know that works.
Well, here's my theory. This season is all in her head as she is getting shocked, and thus it is all a dream, and it's getting reset on season 3.
She got electroshock therapy?
That's how she decided to wipe her own memory at the end of season 1.
Holy crap!
So this is
and in the last moment, as she got electroshocked, she finally cracked the case, but couldn't stop them electroshocking her.
Okay, let me throw out a question. Mike, if that is how this season turned out to be, that it was all a dream and they went back to it, how would you feel?
I'd feel incredibly smart for calling that, but
I think he'd feel fine. People would lose their shit.
Oh no, I would dig that because it's like I love it when shows and movies kind of fuck with its audience just a bit, and just like because I have no problem with things being a dream episode. I don't care. Like, emotional resolution is all I care about, even if it is fake.
I get you. So as long as you go on that ride, you don't care if you have to go back to a separate part and then take a different ride in a different direction.
Yeah.
All right, I get you. That's understandable. Speaking of shows that fuck with the audience, has anybody been watching American Horror Story this season?
I'm a wimp.
No, but I hear it got
I have
fucking
not.
crazy.
That I checked out
I
a few
haven't watched
episodes
it at
just
all,
to prepare for this because I had not seen the show up until now. But I heard that it's one of those shows that every season is different, which I like. I wish more shows would try that. And I watched a couple episodes of it. Holy crap! It's like if you took a really bad acid trip and then walked through an abandoned asylum. That is what this show is. I mean, I was watching one show, and the episode I was watching, there was a woman who thought she was Anne Frank, a Nazi hunter, an alien invasion, and a monster disformed woman walking around in a playground. And I don't know what it all means. But it's good. It's like... It's, you know, I enjoy horror, but most of the horror stuff I watch is crap, and that's kind of why I enjoy it, because it's campiness. This is solid horror. I mean, it was making me freak out, and I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. I was not expecting American horror from American Horror Story. But it delivers, so...
Yeah, that's exactly why I have not watched it and will not watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep watching anymore for the same reason why I didn't keep watching Breaking Bad. I'm just not strong enough. It's good.
But Breaking Bad is worth it.
Yeah, which, I mean, we'll go into that next, but it's like...
You gotta watch Breaking Bad.
I remember watching Breaking Bad, and I went, this is incredible television, but I know I'm not strong enough for this. I know I'm not. So I'm one day, I promise I'm going to get back into it, but we're going into it next, and nobody worry about spoiling anything, because I know me, I'm so far behind that I will forget anything that we say by the time I catch up to it. So, Breaking Bad, Kevin said that it's been perfect this season. Has any...
Kevin is... Okay, right. It's been the worst season, but probably by virtue of it being half a season.
Yeah, pretty much that.
I don't know if I'd say the worst season. I actually really liked this season. I could see why you say that. I'm not, I actually really loved this season. No, I'm gonna say it. I really did like it. I was like, I'm not gonna go. If you can see, I just got an email from Final DOS on screen. It was trying to do two things at once. So
yes,
actually kind of trying to work while doing a podcast, and then quickly realized that was not a good idea. So, anyways,
don't worry, we're used to that.
Breaking
Here,
Bad.
I think Kevin is actually here on this episode.
Somewhere.
So yes, anyway, sorry.
I think a lot of my problems with this season of Breaking Bad is that the beginning of it, they went back to something that the show had evolved from. It was, will they make the heist? Will they do that? And of course they're going to do the heist. They've done the heist. They've broken through that phase. So it felt like a lot of false tension in the early
I do agree
season.
with that, and I do remember, because I remember in my recaps that I was very much chastised by people because there was two episodes, the two heist episodes I did not like. They were
exactly the same episode, and they were exactly the same episode as the heist episodes from season 1 and 2.
Yes, I agree with that. But I think for me, kind of by the end, the emotional development, especially in Walt, was... I think I kind of forgave a lot of it, because of everything that happened with Mike, and then the emotional development of Walt, and it's interesting because for some reason I never actually saw it going to this place of the, him actually becoming this crazy asshole kingpin guy. It's like I never really thought it would go there, and it's becoming a different show than I thought it was going to be, but. It makes sense. It actually makes sense. I like it because that actually feels like what really would happen. It doesn't feel like what would happen in TV land. It's like you give this guy power who doesn't really know what he's doing, just kind of happened to get into this, and you give him this much power and craziness, and that's probably what he would do. He would run with it. And so there's the reality of that character development that I really, really liked and appreciated.
I think that character development was season 4, though. I think he reached his plateau.
True.
At the moment you saw that he used the fake rice in, that was
right.
it. That was the moment, and that is he's reached the plateau. I don't think the character really developed past that or regressed again until the very end of season 5, whatever it is, like when he kind of goes, "No, I'm done, I'm good," which is a
Right.
really weird place and a bold place to leave it. I thought.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I kind of had forgotten that. I forgot that that's where it was, and yeah, it's. I'm really curious. You know, I think I like this season too because like it's left in this place where I really have no idea how the show is going to end, and it could go anywhere. Like it could. He made that statement. It could end up happy. It could end up sad. It could end up in any sort of place, and I have no idea where.
It's not going to end up happy.
Oh no,
I'm going to go out and say it.
Yeah,
not end happy.
Yeah, it's
But
not.
it could.
Well, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
saying
I don't know.
it will,
They
but
might.
it
You're right,
could.
because
They had the flash forward with him with the gun with a new name
True.
in
Well,
the middle
that's
of
true.
nowhere for his next birthday, and they're like, "That's the things
But
are going to
we don't
get
know
bad."
when that occurred. He could go back to his, no, it probably won't end up happy, but
It might end up happy, but the fact that it ends up happy is actually depressing in of itself.
true.
in like
I just like that there's maybe it's more that I have no idea where they're going to take it. Not
Yeah, exactly.
necessarily that it could be happy. I have no idea where, a lot of times, especially as the show ends, starts to get to the end, you kind of see where they're building up, where it's going to go. And this one, yes, we have the scene in the diner, we know that occurs, but we don't know when that could be the first episode of, of the next season, of the next part of the season, and then things could grow from there. Like, we have no idea where that fits into the world. So it's really left in this place where I have no idea what's going to happen, and I really love that in a series as it's kind of ending its run. Although the fact that it's ending its run, I'm not really prepared to deal with yet.
is this its last season, or because I remember that they were going to have I think last season be the last season, but then they
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
they were
it's
always
in
prepared.
the middle of a season. Yeah, it's in the middle of the last season. So, like, what was it? Was it just 8 episodes that just aired? Or it was like
Yeah,
half
they-
season aired.
8, yeah.
Yeah, 8 or
Right.
9, and then next summer will be the final run of 8 to complete the 5th season.
But the 16 was made and written as one season, so that's
Yes.
why the finale doesn't feel like a full.
Right,
finale
yeah,
finale.
it wasn't exactly a finale. Yeah, it was kind of like, it was meant to be the whole thing, and then was broken up. But,
AMC needs those ratings.
yeah, they needed it next year or something, I guess. But,
Yeah, network TV, man. TV in general,
Yeah.
it can never end.
no.
which AMC should not worry because they've also got The Walking Dead. Which before we go into Walking Dead, is there any other drama that you guys want to talk about?
Sons of Anarchy.
I was just going to ask.
Oh, yeah, which I haven't remembered what I have to do directly after this podcast and was write the recap of last night.
okay.
And
Yeah.
kind of last
So,
week.
No, go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
all right. So, Stacy, on a scale of 1 to sure, how close were you thinking that Jax was just going to come in and put a couple 9mm in Wendy's skull at the end?
Like positive.
Yeah, I was like,
so
oh,
convinced
he's going to
that's what
kill
was gonna
her.
happen.
But no, he does
Yeah.
something even worse.
Even more
Oh,
fucked
pumping
up.
her full
Like,
of
he-
heroin.
Oh,
Man.
damn!
Jax Teller
Yeah,
is
he
an
took
ass.
the complete cleaned up like girl who got her life on track and like put heroin in her. Like, you don't fuck with me. Like, it's funny. As I've said, I've been a little bit lower on this season. Like, it's
Yeah.
been definitely, but I thought last night's episode kind of brought that back a little bit.
Well,
like, it
yeah.
kind of,
They finally killed Clay,
yeah.
metaphorically
Well,
speaking.
kind of. Yeah, I was like, yeah. Yeah, it you know what, it felt finally like it was actually like the club functioning and not just these random little pieces that was all leading up to something. It was like fine. Although I do have to say that I'm so confused by all these side deals and deals that are happening. Like, I really have no idea
We
what is
never
happening.
saw any of that. So when he just sprung that on, I was like, oh, you're trying to pull a long con that you didn't see thing. This season's just
Yeah.
been aimless and it's annoying.
It has, yeah, it has. It's been very, and that's what makes me sad about this season is because that's been kind of the brilliance of the shows, that it isn't aimless. And I mentioned before, it usually is a show that kind of has a theme. Like, each season, I thought that was really interesting and really cool. Like, it was like played, and this season, Damon Pope kind of, Nero kind of, like, there's no, like, when you look, you're like, oh yeah, that's when it was the Belfast kidnapping, that's when it was the Rico case, that's when, you actually could describe it in a log line, and this season, that's just missing, and you can feel it in the show.
Yeah, it's just kind of like Jax's many terrible father figures who happen to be gang lords of some sort.
Yeah. Yes. That's a good way of putting it. But I do love the show in general. You know, I still think it's better than a lot of shows, so it still gets props in that way.
How badass are the leather jackets?
Oh
pretty
my
badass.
god, they're so bad.
I still
Okay.
give it kind of crap because Curtis is like, nah, man, we're not trying to be The Wire. This is pulpy soap opera biker drama. I still like pull that out when I'm talking about it with my aunt. I'm giving it crap, but yeah. Dude, Peter Weller's been directing episodes of this, like RoboCop.
Oh,
Peter
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
like it's been linked on Wikipedia. And I was like, nah, maybe a different Peter Weller. Looked up IMDb and everything else. Nah, RoboCop. He's been directing TV
Wow.
episodes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Wait.
I'm sorry, what?
I was just wondering. So, anyone think Jax is going to turn Tig over and let him be burned alive, or something else?
I mean, obviously something's big going to happen since they just randomly left it to next episode, which is the season finale. So it was kind of like, I honestly, you know what? That's another thing. I actually don't know. I cannot figure out, because this season they have been pretty good about doing shocking things. I don't
the
love
violence
the
on the
idea of
show
them
has
getting
just gotten
rid
to
of
me,
him.
man.
Yeah, like, I don't want him to be gone just as, like, the actor. Like, I don't care about the, you know, it's like, I don't want them to get rid of him, because I think, as they have been, one of the things I've also felt is that as they are getting rid of some of the members of the Sons, you feel that, like, there's kind of the random members that you don't really know or care about, so I don't really want them to get rid of Teague, because I like him there, but they certainly could.
Tig's got to die to me. He's the whole reason Opie is dead, and thus the number one reason Jax will kill him.
That's probably true. Yeah, I mean, Jack certainly probably won't save it. I mean, but who knows? But they did set up that he might go with Clay. So there's a very good chance that he gets on the boat to Belfast and, you know,
I still expect
survives
Clay
there.
to blow up on that airplane for some reason. Just because
That could-
Jax is just angry, and he's like, no, I gotta kill him for real. Instead of just take everything he loves.
Yeah. True.
All right. Well, before we go into the next segment, any last shows to talk about?
Vegas.
Wait, that's already come on?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
CBS.
Didn't know it, did you?
How is it?
It is like, I like the Michael Chiklis parts. I really could care less about surly Dennis Quaid. But like, in general, as like a CBS product, it's actually kind of good.
Jackson, Surly Dennis Quaid, another great band name.
I'm pro Sterling Dennis Quaid. There's yeah, you know.
I like the
good to
band
know,
name.
though.
I'm gonna Surly Michael Chiklis, better band name, but we'll see.
Michael Chiklis is just naturally Surly. Why are we getting off on band names now? I'm sorry, I started that. Anyway.
This was you.
I know, I did that one. That was meant to be a one-off joke. Anyway. It's meant to be a
and then
running
I
gag
actually-
on this show. Anyway, alright.
I was going to say, wait, if there's not more, I have to tell my one. Actually, there is one show that's my new guilty pleasure
go
of
for
show.
it.
And I don't know if anybody, nobody's really watching, but Nashville. I've actually can't stop
Oh.
watching Nashville.
I keep hearing good things about it, but it's on
It's
ABC.
funny. It's like, yeah, and that's, I know, which is weird, because, as I said, I usually hate ABC shows. And that's what, I can't figure it out if it's actually good, or if it's like my girly guilty pleasure soapy show. And I really, like, I would love for somebody to watch it and tell me, because I really, it's not, like, amazing. It doesn't, like, you know, blow me away. And it's not also not like, oh my god, I can't wait to see it. But it's like, oh, if I have nothing else to put on, I'm going to put on Nashville. And the other night I was, like, hoping there was another episode, and there wasn't yet. So it's actually, it's good. I mean, and I love Connie Britton, and so watching her in anything kind of makes it good. But yeah, that's actually the only fall show that I have continuously been watching. So I felt like I had to say something.
Alright, cool. Before we go into, because we are going to divide this up, we're going to talk about Walking Dead in its own little third segment coming up, but I know if I don't do this now, I'm going to completely forget. We got a question from Toast Burner B, which I had not read his name until now, and that name is awesome. But he had a little question for us, and I figured it'd be good to get just a small group to answer this. With the holiday seasons coming up, the question must be asked. Do you guys prefer the sentimental favorites, It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, etc., or do you like the more modern holiday movies, A Christmas Story, Elf, etc.? Sticking with holiday themes, what is your favorite version of A Christmas Carol? Anybody have an answer?
I don't think it is. Do you prefer the sentimental movies or the sentimental movies? Was his question.
Well, no, I think it was the old ones or the more
The old
modern
school,
ones.
like
Does
the
Die Hard
modern,
count
like
as being old?
No,
no.
not in this. Not in
No,
this
no.
question.
And it's very simple.
Yeah, this question I think it's like pre-60s. Like,
Hard
we're talking
isn't
black and white
sentimental.
old.
Die Hard and Lethal Weapon are two of the greatest Christmas movies of all time.
Kiss, kiss, bang,
Kiss Kiss
bang.
Bang Bang,
End
that was the
question.
other one. I can't believe I forgot that. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, such a good movie, especially for Christmas.
I was like, here's again where my girly side comes out. That Love Actually is actually my favorite.
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that movie.
Christmas
I
movie.
actually, I honestly really do enjoy Elf. I like the more modern ones, just simply because, I grew up with the old-timey ones, and I've seen them. So I enjoy seeing somebody being able to still capture Christmas, but doing something new with it. I just saw Rise of the Guardians. The adult in me was kind of like, oh, this is nice. But yeah, there was a little 5-year-old kid inside of me going, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, there were moments in which I was fighting back the tears because it was all about the spirit of, holidays and
Aw,
stuff. So.
that makes me want to see it now.
It's actually, that's the thing, is that you just have to realize it's for kids. It is not, it makes it seem, I know DreamWorks mostly does family things for the entire audience. This is really solely for kids, but if you're capable of having your heart grow 3 times its size and break that little measuring device, then this is a great one to watch. I will also say, I do enjoy the more weird Christmas story stuff. Like, I enjoy Scrooged more than any other version of A Christmas Carol.
That's actually what I was going. I actually hate A Christmas Carol except for Scrooge. Scrooge is
And
only.
Also,
the
this is gonna be a weird one to throw out, but my favorite TV Christmas specials, the Futurama Christmas specials and the American Dad Christmas specials, because they're the weirdest Christmas specials you will ever see.
Well, the Futurama ones are just
The
genius.
Futurama ones are genius, and every single year, that is the special I look forward to the most, is the American Dad one. I mean, because they will think of incredibly insane stuff. Like, there's one in which they accidentally kill Santa, and I thought, oh, so now they're going to have to be Santa Claus and deliver all the toys. No, what it is that Santa can't die, and he's slowly regenerating, and when he comes back to life, he's going to try and kill them. So the entire Christmas special is them on Christmas Eve locked up in a cabin, having to fight off an army of elves and reindeer coming to kill them. And it's like, you know what? When I'm tired of the other sentimental stuff, this is what I want from a Christmas special. I look forward to them simply because I have no idea what it's going to be. They had one. Had one that was a ripoff of The Omen as a Christmas special, which So I mean, that's why I love those kinds of ones, simply because I have no idea where they're going with them.
That's funny. The other modern one that I have to say I love, and then a little something else that I can't believe I'm admitting in public, but Bad Santa is my favorite. It's
Bad
also
Santa
one of
is
my
really
favorite
good,
Christmas movies, and when you look at the modern ones, that's what I think that the sentimental ones are great, but as you said, the modern ones kind of give a different weird take on that. Like Elf is, I actually love Elf and Bad Santa, and as I said, Love Actually. I think I like the modern ones more. But then the thing that I can't believe that I'm admitting is that my sister and I, and also her husband, who I will call out, we every year have a trend that's starting, I think it starts maybe this week, watch what we like to call Christmas lady stories. And it is all of the Christmas movies that are on the Lifetime Network and the Hallmark Channel, and they are
I'm just going to
incredible.
ask this right now.
like
Is
a
there
great
any
feature.
chance? Is there any chance you can turn that into like a blog on screen and just like chronicle your journey through Ladies Christmas?
Oh my god, absolutely. Yes, lady story time. I will Christmas lady, because they are all about some city girl that gets stuck in a town that with like 12 people in it and falls in love with the local carpenter, and they are I could not love them more. I love Christmas because I love lady story Christmas movies.
That is awesome. Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, before we go into the break, anybody have anything else they want to add to it? I will also say that I hate A Christmas Story.
Yeah, I never got what was so good about that one.
It's not that I hate it, it's that it's shown 24 hours on TBS every single year. And my parents, oh geez, this is getting way too deep into my backstory, but my parents are divorced, and so Christmas was always just a nightmare for me. But the one thing that both my Christmases had in common, because I always had to celebrate it twice, But the only thing they both had in common is that A Christmas Story was playing non-stop in the background.
Oh, come on.
So yeah,
They're being cruel enough with the circumstance there. You don't have to make you watch A Christmas Story once, let alone twice.
Oh no, not twice. Like 3 or 4 times at each house. Because they never stop watching it all the time.
Right, there is only one Christmas film that I will watch over and over
abuse.
again, and it is The Snowman, the short. That is the one. But apart from that, in terms of sentimental stuff, I'm kind of a heartless individual, apparently. I'm not a big fan of sentimental things.
Christmas.
What was that, Stacey?
I'm going to change you I'm going to make you watch A Lady Story, and I'm going to write about it, and I'm going to change you.
I will watch A Lady Story. We will do that. That actually might be a really good, like, Ustream. Like, we sit down and just, like, when it's coming on and just, like, do, like, a live stream of it or something. But
Watch A Lady Story. Screen watches Lady Stories.
Screen watches Lady Stories. I'll have Michelle start working on a title card right now. Okay. Well, we will be back in a moment to talk about the exact opposite of Lady Stories and Christmas, The Walking Dead. Stay tuned. Hi there, welcome back to the Pupcast. This is our episode talking about fall TV, up to this halfway point, talking about what we think of what we've been seeing. Jackson had to go from the last segment, but I still have Stacy here with me.
Hello.
And I also still have Mike.
Hey, well, I'm here first.
Mike, what happened to your voice? It's totally different.
I don't know.
I keep saying we need to give you guys like aliases or something, because luckily we have yet to have Mike and Mike on at the same show. But I know eventually it's going to happen. Alright. But yeah, Mike, you are joining us here. The other Mike had to go, but Mike, you're here to talk about the only show we really haven't covered yet, The Walking Dead, which just had its Season 3 midway finale thing, which I didn't really ask you guys, but what do you think about that? Because I've noticed a lot of shows doing that with the mid-season finales.
Well, unfortunately, at least for The Walking Dead, we only have to wait a couple months before it starts up again, so I'm not really too concerned about it. And unfortunately, I haven't really watched any shows like... I'm not caught up with Breaking Bad, so I probably won't watch the first half of this season until the second half's going to air. So I feel really bad for those people who are watching it, though.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. I have to say, yeah, I agree a little bit that it's okay with The Walking Dead because it's not a year long, and I do think it makes sense that it's holidays, and although, yes, I probably would still catch up on it, it's probably makes more sense to just take the month off and take a little break. But I don't like the trend. I certainly hope that it does not become a trend where we get little mini seasons and have to wait for an extended period of time for the rest of it, because I think it just breaks up the momentum a lot of times.
Especially when it's a long break like that, and especially when it's like a serialized thing in which every single episode leads into the next one. I don't know if they're like doing that in order to, build up even more hype, or if it helps like sell the DVDs more. I don't really know, but yeah, I a few, a month or something, totally understandable. You can get some good hype going from that, and I think it does raise tension going into the next episode. But yeah, when it's like an entire year waiting for the rest of one season, that season's done to me. This is a whole new season in my mind. But yeah, we're going into The Walking Dead right now. I just want to...
Yeah, that's what... Yeah, it feels like this season just ended.
Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, especially with The Walking Dead, because to me, like, I think it was episode 4 of this one, I was like, no, that's your season finale for me. We'll get into what episode 4 was exactly in a moment, but I just want to ask, going into this season, how do you guys feel about the series up to this point? Because I know that, for the most part, people have been loving it. But I know that there are a couple of people who had problems, and I am one of those people who were having problems with the previous 2 seasons.
Well, I thought the first season was pretty great overall. I think there was maybe one episode in there, and ironically enough, it was the one written by Robert Kirkman.
Okay, yeah, I was just about to ask if that was the one you were talking about.
Yeah, I think it was the Vatos, I think was the name of the episode. Where they run into the community of people in Atlanta trying to hold up. That one was kind of weak and kind of odd, but yeah, overall, I thought season 1 was really good. Season 2, I will admit, had its issues. I am one of the few people that still think that overall it was a really good season.
I don't think you're one of the few people. I still think that...
You know what? It's funny that actually I think Mike and I think we've talked about this on the side a lot. I'm actually also one of those people as well that actually really liked season 2. So it's funny to have us be on this episode. I guess it's good we're not talking about season 2.
No, it's good because I'm kind of in the other camp on that one, but I know that it's hard for me to talk about the Walking Dead TV show because I realized early on into the first season... I've read the book, so it's hard for me to not constantly be comparing this to the book. And there were so many things in season 2 that I was kind of having problems with, simply because I was going, well, they did it better in the book, which is weird because I've never done that ever with any book. But for some reason, Walking Dead, which is a comic book of all things, is the one I'm going, no, that's how this character was supposed to die. I'm mad now. But, so it's like I can't really... judge it purely. I can't judge it purely as a show, because in my mind, like, when Shane dies, I'm like going, okay, well, that's good, but in the comic it was better because they did this, and it's like, I know that I was acting like the kind of guy who I tell to shut up constantly because they're ruining the show. But yeah, so I think that we have a good little ensemble here to discuss this. We are going to do, after this season fully wraps up, we're going to do an entire Walking Dead episode, talking about completely as a whole. But so, yeah, you guys are saying that when you went into this season, you had really been enjoying it, but realized it had problems. Did you see it as like, okay, if they don't fix these problems, it could turn into a bigger thing? Did you see it as having kind of like leveled out at a point, or did it look like the problems were kind of like on a downward slope, kind of?
I think for me, well, one, I think, and one of the things that we've talked about, and on screen when we've talked about it, I think one of the biggest differences for me was that I watched it in marathon format, and I think that season particularly benefited from watching it all at once, because it was, I think a lot of the problems was it was drawn out and not a lot happened, and waiting week to week, it was like, who cares, nothing happened. But when I was watching 7 episodes at a time, then it kind of, there was enough action in between. But it's funny because as you say that, as I've been this season 2 apologist and have liked it, the difference between season 3 and season 2 is very great. And kind of looking back on it, I can say, oh yeah, maybe season 2 had more problems than I thought, because I think season 3 has been so much better that it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's what it should have been. But I did like that. I did think, as you said, were there problems that had they not gotten better? Yeah, I think it got really slow, and had they not picked up on the action, it could have become a very big problem. But I liked kind of the character drama of it.
Oh, yeah. My problem wasn't really the character drama. I like that. That is what I I enjoy that about these kind of situations. I enjoy the people just interacting, and, how their lives become, and like the tensions that build up there. But I was really disliking all the characters, and not because they've been driven mad by these situations, but I was just like, man, Laurie is just being a jerk to everyone, and it was one of those situations where I was like, well, this character's just constantly making terrible decisions. That character does nothing. He's just standing there. So that was kind of my problem. Whereas with this season, I'm really digging the tensions between characters. Bringing Michael Rooker back. I didn't even like Michael Rooker in the beginning. I'm loving him in this season. And everything going on in the prison, when they run into the different prisoners and they don't know, what to do with them. I really enjoy. That's the kind of tension that I really love. So just up to this point, just to our midway, whatever they want to call it, season, the middle of the season. How do you guys feel about it? Mike, you didn't really get a chance to speak there. Sorry, but
that's all right.
I'm rambling right now. I don't know why.
I think part of the problem that I had with season 2, at least towards the end, I was one of those few people who was like, okay, everyone was getting really annoyed with the whole Sophia thing, and I'm like, okay, I kind of was going along with it, and then because at the mid-season finale for season 2 was when you had the big reveal, oh, she's been a zombie all this time, and then boom, Rick shoots her when no one else will, and I thought that was an amazing turning point for his character and a way to end the mid-season finale there. But as far as this season, I think I definitely agree with what Stacy said. That I don't know what it is. I don't know if they got new writers or the writers are just getting more comfortable with the characters. But yeah, all the human drama's been great. The action has been phenomenal. You could definitely tell that their special effects budget has gone way up from before with the amount of zombie kills and the way that they're being disposed
of.
And
the makeup jobs on them. I mean, I look at this show, which is on cable, and then I look at shows on network that try and do the science fiction thing, and I'm like, they're cable, and they're kicking your ass in this department. They have to have a 10th year budget. How are they doing this?
I don't know, but I'm definitely not going to complain about that. I mean, the governor, he's been, I actually was a little disappointed with how they were going with him for a bit there. I mean, I've read the comics as well, so I mean, I know how crazy he can get, and I feel like we never really got a whole lot of that until these last couple of episodes, especially with the mid-season finale.
Yeah, I was about to say, in the comics, when you meet the governor, he's got the eye patch, and he is just... By the way, spoilers on everything in this season. If you have not figured out we're going to be doing spoilers for The Walking Dead season finale, tune out now. But yeah, in the comics, he starts off with the eye patch and is full-blown nuts and psychotic to begin with. Whereas this almost seems like the origin story of that governor that we know. It seems like we are watching him, he was always nuts and always crazy, but he was able to keep it in check. And then the moment that Michonne stabbed his daughter, it was like, nope, all the crazy's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually very curious about that, and I did appreciate this finale episode for that, too, because a little bit... It's one of those situations where you kept hearing, oh my god, the governor's so awful, so bad, and he's crazy, and they started to show kind of a little alright, this guy's a little bit off his rocker, and he's keeping heads of zombies, and he's making them fight in rings, but there was nothing that was like, oh my god, this is the craziest character I've ever seen.
And he also had, reasoning for it, which, I mean, it was terrible reasoning, but it's like, it's the zombie apocalypse, I'm not gonna judge this guy too harshly. Hey, he wants to have cage matches with zombies. What else are you gonna do? He has a reason for it.
Yeah, it kind of all felt within the realm of this crazy world that they've all adjusted to. It was like, well, this world is crazy. There was nothing. He didn't feel necessarily really bad and evil to me. He kind of seemed like, all right, he is not handling this situation well. But I didn't get. Until especially the scene with Maggie, too. I think the scene with Maggie was kind of the first time that you were like, all right, this guy's bad, and so they kind of really did build up, and that's an interesting. I didn't think about that, but that was an interesting way to think about it. It was kind of more his origin story, and now perhaps we will see him kind of take it to that next level now that he has the eye patch and go to that place where he's really bad.
Yeah, and you mentioned that.
And
you mentioned that moment with Maggie. There's one thing that they have made clear about this is that, hey, just because someone's safe in the comics does not mean that they're safe here. Maggie's still alive in the comics, but as he was standing there with her, with like his hand around her, I was like, he's gonna snap her neck. He is going to murder her right there. That was, I was so tense at that scene, and they weren't even doing anything except just standing there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that, I totally just lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Because I had a thought and then I lost it. No, he was,
Origin story, eye patch,
Origin story, eye patch, and, I remember now. I was going to say that I actually do like it because being that it is a TV series, I actually think this was very smart if they did it intentionally. If they didn't, it was a very happy accident. But one of the biggest things with a TV series is building, especially when you have a bad character, is building a villain that actually that you care about. So if they kind of brought him in and he was so crazy and did all these awful things, it would be hard to relate to him. Whereas now, I kind of knew he was going to get crazy, but I don't completely hate him. So I have a little bit of... Not to say that I like him, but I'm okay with him. So it kind of laid that groundwork, and then now when he goes crazy, I won't immediately kind of hate him. So I appreciate that it happened.
And in order to make a really purely evil villain, someone that can just not be a force in nature, but actually kind of, something that really connects with the fans, you need that kind of emotional connection there with them. You can think of the villains throughout film history and think of several examples of those ones that, well, yeah, this person's insane, but they're charming. Kind of like, I don't know, Hannibal Lecter or something. It's like, yeah, he's insane, but he's smart and he's therapeutic in a weird way.
And he's charming. Hannibal Lecter is charming.
Yeah, and so is he selects good wine. And so is he's the Fraser Crane of serial killers. But, and the governor is the exactly same way. That's what I meant when it was like, yeah, you can understand his reasoning. Not so much because it's a good reason, but A, because the world is messed up, and B, the dude's charming. When he gets you there and he starts telling you his reason for stuff, it's hard to go, yeah, but on the other hand...
Yeah, that's very true.
What do you guys think of the new characters who have been introduced aside from just the governor? We have the characters in the prison. We had Tyrese in the final episode. How do you guys feel about all those characters who have been introduced so far?
I'm kind of interested in what they're going to do with Tyrese because he's getting introduced pretty late. Comparing it to the comics, at least.
That was one of the things that kind of made me drop the show in the second season. It's because they introduced T-Dog, and T-Dog is a character who is not in the comic, but they introduce him at like the same point where they introduced Tyrese, and he's a guy whose name also begins with a T, and I was going, please tell me you didn't do this. Please tell me this isn't...
You didn't make Tyrese
I was like, please tell me you did not try and urbanize Tyrese, because their portrayal of African Americans in the show hasn't been that great. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, please tell me you did not do this. So as soon as I found out that Tyrese will actually be in the show, I was like, oh, thank God. Okay.
Yeah. I always kind of felt bad for T-Dog, though. Actually, he was in the season 1.
He was?
Yeah, because he was there in the CDC because he tried to get the other African American lady, I forget her name, but she decided to stay down there. In the explosion.
Wasn't he the whole? Am I crazy? Wasn't he the whole reason that they chained Merle because Merle was racist against T-Dog?
Yes.
Oh my God, you're right.
Because that's why he was asking Glenn about him.
Holy cow. People have joked about how T-Dog does nothing but stand around and isn't noticeable. The fact I forgot an entire season of his existence.
And that was a pretty integral scene.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he played an important part with oh God. By the way, I'm apologizing right now. Anybody who knows me knows I am terrible with names. If it weren't for the fact in these Skype calls, everyone's name is right on the screen, I would have screwed things up long ago on this. I'm terrible with names, and The Walking Dead has dozens of names, so I'm going to refer to many of them as, the blonde guy, and the girl with the face, and that one. As soon as they chain up Michael Rooker, that's an important scene. I should have remembered that was T-Dog. And the weird thing is, I remember the scene in that compound where they were trying to talk the woman into coming with him, and she was refusing. I totally forgot it was T-Dog doing that. It's like, in my mind, there was just a blank void there trying to talk her into coming back with him, and I did not see a face on it.
A blank void named T-Dog.
Rest in, that's on his tombstone. T-Dog, blank void.
Yeah. But, I'm excited for Tyrese, though. We'll see... We'll see where he goes. I don't want to say anything what happens with the comics, but...
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm going to go spoiler alert on that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's the thing is I got to be careful about the comics, because the weird thing is they've said, no, this is not the comics, nothing is the same, the rules are totally changed, but we are going to do the exact same things that happen in the comic, just out of order and maybe to different people. It's like, in the comics, Rick is the one who has his hand lost, and this one, it's Merle. And, in the comics, what's his name? Dale was the one who lost his leg. In this one, it's Herschel. So yeah, it's just because something happens doesn't mean it'll happen in the comics. It will happen in the show, just not in the same order and maybe to someone else. So yeah, no spoilers on that. But yeah, God damn it, I almost said T-Dog. Sorry. Wow. Oh, racist alert. Tyrese has many great moments in the comic, and it's such a great character. In fact, I was wondering, there's a younger woman there with him, and I was trying to figure out, is that his daughter? Because in the comic, he's with his daughter and her boyfriend, and there's many great scenes as a result of that, but I kept looking at the woman he was with and going, she looks a little too old to be his daughter.
Yeah,
but she looked a little too...
Not knowing anything, I never would have guessed that it was his daughter. I would have thought it was his
in fact, when they
partner or something.
In fact, when they bump into each other in the woods, she goes, "Oh, Tyrese," instead of "Oh, Dad." I was like, okay, well, hey, if they decide, like I said, after this season, I'm back to trusting the show because I thoroughly enjoyed this season. Although, while we're on the subject of T-Dog and Tyrese, I mentioned I've had problems with the way that they portray African Americans on the show, and this season didn't help, especially the season finale, because as soon as they get to the prison, they meet a new black guy, and right after meeting the new black guy, T-Dog dies. And then when Tyrese came into this episode, I jokingly said to my roommate, that new guy in the prison better look out. And then he dies 5 minutes after I say that.
It's like there can't be more than one on at the same time.
Yeah, that was... I mean, I was trying to go, well, it's The Walking Dead, no one's safe, but it's in the back of my mind, I was going, there are so many white people who could have gotten shot at that moment.
Yeah.
But yes.
And as we started with characters, talking about the new people, and it's funny because this was another, in addition to the governor, when... I actually have a bit of a problem with Michonne, and I know most people, when she came on, was like, oh my god, she's my favorite character, I love her. I don't know if it's the actress or the character, but she feels so one-note to me that I've had trouble getting into her character at all.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but in a way, and once again, I hate being this guy. No one ever wants to be that guy. But I hate being this guy, but in the books... she is very one note in the beginning, and it was nothing but, well, she's a badass, and that was it. But eventually, after the governor arc, they do start to build her character. So in the show, she is once again very one note, but I'm kind of giving them a little bit of a pass because once again it was like, well, it did take them a while to build her up, but at the same time, this is a different medium. This is
yeah, and I think I find that it's like if you're going to stay true to that and. You gotta for people who haven't read that, and had I, not been writing for Screen and talking to people, I would have seen this character and been like, I wouldn't have even known that there was a possibility of her being a great character. To me, it just would have kind of been like, alright, she just stands around with the same look on her face and slices shit up, which is cool. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say she's not a badass and not cool, but it just...
That only goes so far.
Again, where I said the same thing where they did with the governor. Yeah, she could die tomorrow and I could care less. She is not a character that I have any attachment to. Honestly, if she died, I'd kind of be like, oh, okay. And move on. It's like, I don't know that I would feel sad. I would, and that just to me is, as you said, it's a different medium, and I think they just, and whether they're, again, like you said, I trust them a bit too, because they do things for purposes, and they do build up to things, and they might have a reason, but if they are doing that, I certainly hope that it comes.
Yeah, and I mean,
that they really get to that point.
Yeah, and there have been so many times in which I've been watching something and went, oh, hold on, guys, I know it's coming, and it never ever comes. So I'm giving them a little bit of space on this and saying, all right, I understand this is how it went. I'm going to give you space, but at the same time, I'm fully aware that might never come. And also, in the comics, one of the reasons she's such a badass is because the guy who inks the book is a badass and always gives her like massive shadows across her face and just does incredible artwork on. You can't do inking on a TV screen. So you have to give her character in this. So yeah, once again, it's a different medium, and when you have an hour every single week, you have to do more than just show her chopping up zombies. And the point of The Walking Dead is not, let's see how many zombies we can kill, it's characters. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happens to, and that's another thing that I've really appreciated about this season even more as well, is that I really feel like they've kind of gotten into the interesting human character development things of what happens to our society when people are under, when mass amounts of people are under this stress, this crazy, like what Rick goes crazy and then comes back and then, is the leader. But it just, how Governor creates Woodbury and how important normal comforts are. I just really think this season has really hit its stride in exploring those themes as opposed to just, hey, they're zombies, let's kill them, they're going to kill us. Like, it feels like its depth has really started to come
I totally
out.
agree with that. Speaking of the Rick goes crazy moment, we were talking about when Michonne shows up, all the comic fans went nuts, but they had to do a little bit more for the TV people. When the phone started ringing, I went nuts, because I knew what it meant, but for someone who hasn't read the books, when you heard the phone ringing, what was your impression?
I'm trying to remember because I found out the next day what it actually meant.
Okay.
So I'm trying to, actually think back. So I didn't have, the full week to stew on it and get the, honestly, I really had no idea. Now that you're thinking about it, I think it was a very cool moment because it was very confusing. As in, I never would have thought it was what it was. And it was kind of like, what do you mean the phone's ringing? Are they going to be saved? It was actually a very cool moment because it was just very confusing.
Yeah. We were talking about the characters and how they've reached depth. I gotta say, I really was not liking Lori in the last season. But I really think that they did something great with her here right before killing her. Of course, I think that she did kind of realize that she was being a jerk to people. Which, that's always kind of been my philosophy. When you have a character who is being a bad person, the first way to start redeeming them is to just have them admit that they have a problem, basically. So I found that good. I thought that they started to explore T-Dog a little bit more, but it was still a little bit more people just saying what good things he did, rather than, they were telling, not showing, I felt, but still, he got some character. And Carl, that's the one that to me really impressed me, especially in the final episode, in the mid-season finale, just seeing him kind of step up and take charge.
Right. Yeah. And especially with Daryl and Carol, the two of them. It wasn't a whole lot, but you could definitely tell that there is something going on there with them. They don't seem to be necessarily together, but and he definitely seems to have. I don't know if maybe he's got a thing with kids. I don't know because after Sophia goes, is dead. Daryl kind of takes care of Carol, and then once Rick goes crazy and Judith is born. He takes care of her too. So it's like Daryl's, basically the all-around badass of this show, and he wasn't even the comic. And
that is the one character who wasn't in the comic who I actually go, okay, that's a good character. Because that was one of my problems in the first season is that they introduced all these other characters who weren't in the comic, which I'm totally cool with. But aside from Daryl, that was it. Aside from that, I mean, like I said, I didn't even remember T-Dog was there, and then all the other ones seemed to just be there to die, so...
Right.
Yeah, he's the one that got it right, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. And going back with Michonne, I think part of the problem that they've also run into, they introduced her in, at the very end of season 2, and then you had the little bit with her and Andrea at the beginning of the season. But then when she gets to the prison, there really hasn't been a whole lot of time for, downtime, I guess we'll call it, for her to interact with Rick and company for them to kind of get into her character. So I'm thinking probably the second half of this season, hopefully they'll start fleshing some more background into her and, Tyrese and, the group he's with. Although I somehow have a feeling that basically everybody but Tyrese will end up dead by the end of the season.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah, I would kind of guess that too.
And I also, I honestly feel like Carl has got to die by either the end of this season or maybe beginning of next season. I mean, they started him out, in the comics he's, 8 years old, maybe 10.
I know.
And even with progressing, 8, 9 months, from the end of season 2 to the beginning of season 3, he's gonna get older and older, faster and faster, and I think just for that sake alone, they can't keep him around, which would be kind of interesting to see, if they did that, and if Rick is truly on his own, he has no more family, except, maybe Judith. I don't know what will happen with her, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the Carl thing too, because I was thinking about that in the beginning. Because the comic, it's been maybe a year, and they've got up to issue, and the comic itself has been around for 6 years now.
It's been like 9, almost 10 years.
Damn,
yeah,
where's the time go?
Wow.
And it's been like 2 or 3 years in that universe that's gone by. So
yeah,
but still.
But so Carl in the book has only grown about 2 years, whereas in here they say, oh, it's only been about 9 months, and the kid has grown 1.5 feet. So yeah, I understand that is a big problem.
That's why I call him Large Carl now. Every time I see him, hey, it's Large Carl.
That cowboy hat is not too big on him anymore. No,
it's certainly not.
Or what they could do is, it's possible that, because this is a show where they can do anything, and they've definitely already said this is not the comic, they could just end up, because I really like what they're doing with Carl's character in this. It's totally different from in the book. In the book, Carl's basically the start of a supervillain, basically. Like, Carl's going insane, killing other people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I never would have expected that.
In the book, Carl's going insane. He's done all kinds of evil stuff for the good of the group, which is not for the good of the group.
Right. Well, to be fair, he's also had some pretty awful shit done to him, too.
Oh, yeah, he's experienced all this at, like, that, and I mean, it's insane, like, how evil he has become in the book. But in this, he's really, like, stepping up and becoming the next Rick. So I would be interested in almost if, like, they said, yeah, okay, we can't slow this down anymore, but we could kind of kill everyone except him and then speed ahead by 2 years or something and touch up with Carl after that, spending that time on his own as he meets up with a new group or something. Probably around when contract negotiations come around, I'm guessing.
Right.
But yeah, I'm saying, they could do that too. This is a series that you really don't know what could happen.
And I kind of feel, I mean, of course you have to deal with the aging of the kid, but I really felt at the end of this last episode that and of course they can kill him because they might be doing this, that it kind of started to finally become, or I don't know if I say finally, but to become like the Carl and Rick show.
Yeah.
And very much, and I didn't even know all that stuff about him kind of growing up to have evil things. And I can see that now, and I think that's actually interesting because, as I said, it's a lot about what happens to people in these environments and what happens when you have to shoot your mom in the head, and that changes you as a person, especially when you're a child, and while it might not be coming out as you grow up. So there's a part of me that almost wouldn't even mind if they play with the timetable a little bit and, we come back again and he's older. Not to say that I don't want them to stick to reality, but I think I would prefer that than to just be like, okay, we have to kill Carl because he's older.
Yeah.
Because I really like that. I like the Carl-Rick dynamic because I think it's an interesting, and I also like the dynamic of still having at least one family, two people that are family still together because they have that roots and the connection, and that even more highlights what is happening to these people. This was this innocent little boy that we saw and started when this all started, and then now how it's all affecting him and his development.
Oh, and I just realized there's a baby there now too. That's another kid
I
have
guess
to worry
that's
about.
true. Yeah, that's another kid.
As
in
a
the
baby,
timeline.
yeah, you can change that actor in and out as much as you want. But I mean, after after like 2 seasons, you'll have the exact same problem again, where you can't change the kid out anymore.
Right. Well, as long as they keep Maggie and Glenn on. Because...
I do not want. They are so good. I mean, let's just go into what's your favorite moment so far from this season, because mine has to be Glenn and Maggie in their cells, and then the moment they release the zombie into Glenn's cell with him. That was the tensest moment I've had in the entire show's run.
Yeah, that's a good. I think mine was Laurie's death, just because that it was just. I cried. I really cried, and I was like, anytime a show makes me cry, that kind of for a while until it makes me cry again wins the moment of the season for a while.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, probably that was mine as well. I mean, there's been a lot of really good Glenn and Maggie moments too. Like, especially, like right before when they were going out for the formula, and they're just searching through the store, and they're just like just take a moment just to like be together, just to be like a simple hug and kiss. It's like you don't really get that. It's like you're surrounded by death and uncertainty all the time, and for them just to take that small little moment, that was probably one of my favorite moments, especially not only between those two characters, but probably of the season.
Yeah, and I do like that too. As you said, I very much appreciate that they do have this kind of love story there, because we all want to watch that on TV. I mean, look at all the soap operas and things. It's like having that moment, but I also think it's very realistic too. It's like if you are in that dire end of the world situation, I think it would be very easy to attach to someone, and kind of find that love, and to have those very real moments is you're right, is very important and really great, especially when it's like all the zombies and you're watching people's brains being eaten out, and then you have just this sweet moment. Kind of sticks out more, and I think really affects you in a great way.
Yeah, it's what's the term? Not love on the battlefield, but whatever that expression is for love finds itself in the harshest of conditions, basically.
Yeah.
And oh god, that's gonna bug me what that expression is. Something about a flower blooming in situations. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not a poet. Anyway, but yeah, exactly. Their relationship is so good in this, and one of the reasons is because I've enjoyed watching Maggie develop as a character as she's been exposed to this harsher world. And whereas and Glenn's become something of a badass this season. Yeah, I mean he's cool.
Really grown. Like I never would have thought he'd be the one that killed a zombie single-handedly while tied up, and then ripped an arm bone out of him and killed another zombie.
Right. Well, and Maggie herself is...
I just find it so amazing that there's a show out there on television where that sentence describes the scene that happened.
And not just that, but that it's quite possibly the biggest drama on television right now. Like, this show, I mean, that fascinates me even more, that there's a very good chance, I mean, that this show is going to end up as the top-rated drama of the season, and that even more fascinates me.
Oh yeah, Mike, say what you were going to say, because that leads into something very interesting. But yeah, before I completely skip over Mike again, because I love to interrupt.
No, that's fine. What I was going to say is I've really appreciated what they've done with Maggie's character. I mean, again, I'm comparing her to the comics, but she's become one of the strongest female leads, which in turn is really frustrating me with Andrea, because they have done a complete opposite of her, and it's driven me insane from the, ever since they started the whole thing with her and Shane against everybody last season, and then her and the governor this season. It's like, no, Andrea, you're supposed to be this kind of badass, and you're supposed to be at Rick's side, and
I kept
Yeah.
I kept wanting to bring that up, except, like I said, I'm terrible with names, so I was going, oh god, what's her name? I gotta talk about her. What is her name? Okay, yeah, Andrea, you're right. In the comics, once again, don't want to be that guy who compares to the comics, but in the comics, she, basically, if Rick dies, she's taking over the group. She is the strongest one, the most stable, has everything under control. But the Andrea that we see in the show, the only reason I can understand them keeping her around is so it's like, okay, Andrea, what do you think we should do? That's what you think? Okay, let's do the exact opposite of that. That is like the purpose she serves on the show. But yeah, so this show, it was, and especially with the problems I was having with, oh god, I forgot her name now all of a sudden. The
Lori.
wife. Lori, thank you.
Lori, okay.
I didn't even have to say anything. Yes, the problems I was having with Lori. Yeah, it was like, this show really needs stronger female protagonists. And in the comic, Maggie she's not a weak character, but she's suicidal and she's constantly having breakdowns. Whereas in the show, she's now becoming the badass. Yeah, she's becoming the badass.
Andrea, and Andrea's becoming I don't even know, let me go drink whiskey and have weird, gross sex with the governor, and I hate her so much. I don't even have the reference of liking her in the comic, and I hate her so much.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would be happy if she were to die. Not even, as much as I thought I didn't really like Lori, Andrea, I cannot stand. And I think it is too. It's like her character, she was like, I'm going to stand with Shane, I'm going to shoot things, and then all of a sudden she goes to Woodbury and, oh, I like it here, it's nice, and I want to come and drink whiskey, and, you're the best, governor, and it makes me crazy.
Which, in all fairness, I'd probably go to Woodbury as well if I was in that situation.
Yes, but I do have to say, I do not blame her for that decision at all. It was a little bit and that was one of my other problems with Michonne, that she was like, yeah, I'm a little bit nervous of this, but I also was like, dude, this is a place that's safe from the zombies. Out there, you have no protection. So I did find that choice to be, even though, because she thought he was a little bit creepy, but there was nothing that was like, you're a terrible human that I shouldn't be around.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, he's a little rapey looking, but aside from that, it's not like, you can't go up to people and just start judging them at face value.
You can't start judging the rapey people. I mean, if you stay away from them, then who are you left with?
Our political system is run by a bunch of rapey-looking guys. We can't just go up to everyone and say, no rapey-looking guys.
True.
There'd be chaos. Oh, jeez, what was I about to say? But yeah, Andrea in the show, someone's got to be there to keep getting them in trouble. Oh, that's what I was going to say. How much were you willing to bet that during that big smokescreen shootout, she was going to shoot somebody?
I thought it might happen. But what shocked me a little more was what happened when she runs into the governor and Michonne and takes his side.
Oh,
yes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Heads of zombies and dead daughter, which part of me kind of was like, okay, did you turn the body over? Look at her face. It's not a human. Just look at her. And then oh God. But then, I don't know. I mean, she seemed to see the horror of, her ways when she sees Daryl, which I'm wondering how that's going to play out, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Daryl, I mean, I was not the biggest fan of Michael Rooker's character. I know so many people were saying, oh, he's a great villain. I was just kind of like, he's there. This season, I really think he became a much stronger villain, and the moment that those two are reunited, that, I love going out on that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I liked that. And, I didn't think it was like a crazy cliffhanger, because it wasn't like, oh, one of them's gonna... Like, so many things could happen. It wasn't like, is he gonna die or not? It's like, so many things could happen at that moment. But I did like that. And I actually do hope that the two of them stay around, because I think that they will have a very interesting dynamic. Like, I actually hope that they play that out a little bit before, anything were to happen to either of those characters. If it does or doesn't, I have no idea. But I do very much like their dynamic.
Yeah, exactly, and I love that, like you said, anything can happen with this. I mean, I kind of jokingly said to my roommate after watching this, I really wish that the final line of the show had been Daryl turning to his brother and going, how much you want to bet we can take him? But then I was like, no, because then that implies what's going to happen. You need this totally open, which, you have no idea what's about to happen. I love that about that ending. Let's go into the big important point that Stacey brought up, which is, what do you think it says about television right now and the people that are watching it and what's being produced, that this show is one of the biggest dramas out there at the moment? Something that would have been next to impossible just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling that, when it debuted on Halloween, 2 years ago, you got a lot of people who like horror. You get people who like the comic. You get people who just like zombies. You probably just get people who want to see a decent drama. And then you go from... Honestly, I don't even know what happened this season. I mean, I guess you get the word of mouth, which would kind of, say, well, hey, even though a lot of people didn't like what happened in Season 2, apparently that didn't really affect viewership and, in fact, brought more people to the table.
Oh, yeah, Season 2 to me is the one where it just exploded and became popular with a much larger crowd. I mean, Season 1, it made its splash, and then Season 2 was when all the people who had been told about Season 1 started watching and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's a bit of... We talked about this a little bit earlier in the podcast, about... It's a bit of... Says something about the state of television in general, that, this number... It's kind of like... This number being the highest number that a cable show can get is also... Because a lot of the shows on network have been getting so much lower numbers. It's that the standard of kind of being the best show has dropped significantly, and especially this season for, I won't go into all of that again, but I do think that, as you guys were saying, it is kind of the perfect mix of a show that crosses genres. As you said, it captures the horror genre, it captures the, people that just want to watch zombies, it captures the quality drama audience. It really is a show that appeals to so many people, and I think that's very rare for a television show to do these days, and I don't even know that you could replicate it. I don't know that... I'm sure that networks and everybody is saying, what's the next Walking Dead? And I think it was, and I've said this before, and it's like this happy, magical mix of potion that happens and comes around, and it just works for so many people and on so many levels.
Yeah, how much do you want to bet that, part of it is just that audiences really just wanted something new and treated them more like they could handle it, I guess. Because when you look at Walking Dead and Breaking Bad as, the two highest dramas, I honestly can't think of any other dramas in the history of television that isn't HBO level of television that has gone to those levels with its drama.
Sons of Anarchy and The Shield.
Well,
okay, The Shield, you're right. Okay, you got me there.
Yeah, The Shield kind of started... Yeah. Well, for actual cable, I was going to say The Sopranos actually kind of started it for, television.
But that's
right.
HBO, and HBO is allowed to go so much further with it.
Yeah, and then it was kind of The Shield that took things across that way, and I do think that people have... And I don't know what reason this is. I don't know. I think part of it is the difference also in film and TV, because of marathoning, because of online and DVD sales and things like that, that people watch television in much more of a I don't want to say like high quality, but maybe they expect more out of it. It's like, it's not just the sit down and watch soaps every week, and they want to get something out of it. And TV has become the quality of movies. So a lot of people, you want that type of effect on you. And I think when a show comes across and has that, then it just draws people in even more.
I think you're right, yeah. All right, well, does anybody have any final thoughts on The Walking Dead this season?
It's been a vast improvement.
Any predictions for the remainder of the season? I normally hate asking that, but what the heck? I still think Carl will be dead by the end of the season.
That's that could be fair. I will not say that's wrong.
I think that maybe Herschel will be dead, or his daughter. I could see that happening. I think that I want to say Andrea will come around to the group, although it'd be interesting if they made her more of a villain.
I don't know if she's competent enough to be a villain in this world.
Well, probably not, but I don't know.
She would pour poison into Rick's coffee and then drink it herself. That's the level of competence we're dealing with.
Yeah, I think, however it goes, I think, as you said, Herschel, I'm very curious to see what happens, because there's got to be a long road for a guy who doesn't have a leg in this environment, and I don't know how that works out.
Which, by the way, we've been talking about the prosthetics and special effects. That's impressive to me, just that they can make it look like he doesn't have a leg.
Yeah, and that he pulls it off, and you think he doesn't have a leg.
But yeah, as you were saying.
I don't have many huge predictions. A lot of times because I end up being wrong on those, so I've kind of tried to not make predictions. But I'm very excited to see where it goes and where they take it. And I do like that now we have the crossover of Woodbury and Rick's group and Team Rick, and we'll see how those kind of go together. And I kind of hope that they mix them still, that it's not like Rick and his people go away and they go, that they kind of play this both parts and keep moving that way. But just as long as it stays like this and keeps being good, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I actually don't really care where it goes.
Yeah, and my predictions would be that I don't think this season is going to end the way that the Governor arc ends in the comics. I won't say how it ends in the comics, because in case I'm wrong, I just spoiled it for everybody. But I don't think they will, because A, I don't think that they could quite pull it off, and B, even though they've done extreme things, there's something that happens that I don't think TV audiences would be cool with at the end of the arc in the book. I kind of get a weird feeling like they might move into Woodbury afterwards, and that Rick might kind of become the new governor, simply because they've got this whole town already set up. And I'm not talking necessarily from a story arc, I'm talking more from a production arc, just like the production might look around and go, we already got this town built. Why not keep it around for a little bit longer? Plus, in the comic, Woodbury is full of madmen. It's basically where all the prisoners who broke out of the prison they're now living in probably moved into, because it's nothing but nut jobs there. Whereas here, it is kind of more of a civilized place at the moment.
Oh yeah, to me it feels like Pleasantville.
Yeah, exactly.
I would actually never get it. It's like this very, status quo. Everybody has their weird smiles on their faces. I don't get crazy at all, but
yeah, exactly.
Maybe, but I guess in the final scene that kind of changed.
It's I think that the whole town might kind of be like the governor himself. Crazy was there, but it was able to hold it off. It was hiding. But that whole town was a little bit rapey. It was I don't know.
We're back.
I gotta stop saying that. I don't know why. Sorry, but yeah, it's so that's. I'm thinking they might move into the town. I'm not positive on it, but yeah, and also after the prison thing in the comic, it's just basically them walking for long, long periods of time. You can't do a whole season with no set location with just them walking. They have to find some new location. So I think Woodbury is probably where they're going to end up. But once again, I could totally be wrong on this one. But Alright, I want to thank you guys for coming in, and before we go, I wanted to do this at the beginning of the show, but I totally forgot to. We actually got our first piece of Pupcast fan mail ever. Not from someone on the site. We get nice comments from people on the site all the time, but, you know, I also post these up on YouTube, and somebody who doesn't even listen, who isn't even on screen, actually put up a nice little comment on YouTube, who just happened to find us. So I'm just going to read this real quick. Thank you guys for being so awesome with these Pupcasts, as I've only just started watching this. I had an empty weekend, so fun, and I think they're damn good. Do you actually stream these live, and is this some kind of schedule as to when this is? And his name is, and it's all in capital and lowercase letters and numbers, so I'm going to try and say this. Original Magnet spelled with a 3, so you can find that guy on YouTube. Thank you very much for saying that. That's so cool that someone just happened to stumble upon this on YouTube. And as far as streaming, that's a good idea. I know other podcasts that do Ustream. We might try that out someday. And as far as the schedule goes, this is like 7 different people on our cast among 4 or 5 different time zones. So it's basically just whenever we can do it. I try to get them out by the weekends, but, you know, sometimes that just doesn't work. So, and, of course, sometimes we end up missing a week. But so yeah, to answer your question, I don't know, maybe. There you go.
There we go.
But
Thank
all
you
right.
for the fan mail.
Yes, thank you for the fan mail. That's so cool. Anyway, oh yeah, and also to that guy, this is actually all for a website called Screened. You can go to Screened.
Yes, I was going to say, yeah, I should probably do the plug as the editor. Go to Screened, and you will find it there in the forums on the front page. You'll find it.
It's like IMDb, but way more fun. Check it out. I love it. All right. Well, I want to thank my guest. I'll just do my own little. But I'll do our own little quick plugs here at the end. You can follow me on Twitter. That's when I make announcements about the Pupcast and such. It's The Obscure Fan, because somebody already took Obscure Fan, and whoever you are, I will find you. But anyway, it's The Obscure Fan at Twitter. You guys want to plug your Twitters? Anything you're working on?
I'm Mike. You can find me on Screen if you're still there. At Rem25 is my username there. I'm on Twitter at msurerus. That's Surerus. So, yeah, check it out. Fun stuff.
I was going to say, I haven't really done this before, and I've been meaning to, and I should. I don't use it, but if you want to find my Twitter, it's StacyW55. So.
StacyW55. All right.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Next week on the show, I'm painting slowly a very crazy picture of myself, but next week on the show, this is actually an episode that it was like in the back of my mind, and I realized this is kind of the perfect time to do it. Like, this is one of my reserve episodes after we run out of all ideas for anything good. But I was on Huffington Post earlier today, and they have a whole section on their page dedicated to End of the World, because the Mayan prophecy says the world is going to end pretty soon. And I keep hearing people talk about that all over the place. So I figured, you know what, next week on the episode, our favorite post-apocalyptic movies and TV shows.
All
right, so that will be a weird one. And then after that, we will actually have a real, actual, factual holiday episode. Something that proves I'm not a crazy person. Or at least tries to. We did talk about Christmas episodes earlier in the show, and I mentioned my favorite is The American Dad, where they kill Santa. So maybe I do need to see a therapist. I don't know. Anyway, I am Obscure Fan Aaron.
Stacy.
Mike. Rem25.
Signing out.
All right.
Signing out.
Goodbye. We're about to crash.
Over and out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.